Good morning, Your Honor. Good afternoon. I'm sorry.
It has been a long day.
Yes, it has, Judge. That's for sure.
Let's see. Miss Miss Beck. Did she leave? I thought I saw her earlier. Come on in, gentlemen, have a seat.
She was on, sure.
Come on in, gentlemen, have a seat. Have a seat. Come on in, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. Come on in, come on in, come on in, 5 South, booth 1, have a seat. We're gonna have Miss Kennebrew here. Miss Kennebrew, did you, right? I did think I saw Miss Kennebrew.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
Does your client, Villanova, does he need the services of an interpreter?
I believe he is able to understand and speak English.
Mr. Villanova, do you need the services of an interpreter?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Well, you got a more southern drawl than I do there, sir. So, okay. All right. Wasn't sure. I figured if you didn't respond, then maybe you would need an interpreter. Okay, we're going to take your case first and say, come on in, the rest of you gentlemen in the booth. Come on in, have a seat. Come on in, have a seat. Let's see, Miss Beck. I think Miss Robinson told you about your client that's in, I guess medical or something. Did you ask at any point? That's why I say, I mean, maybe a good idea. We never know. Shorthanded staff, somebody in medical. If you were able to waive his presence.
I think I am just going to, Your Honor. We had spoken earlier today, so I do feel comfortable doing that because I don't want him to have to wait any longer.
Okay, I understand. Come on in if you're here for. Come on in if you're here for the body. Come on, don't linger outside. Come on,
Your
on.
Honor,
Go ahead.
Sorry. I also was going to ask if we could address Mr. Dustin Williams, what I emailed you about the other day. He did give me permission to waive his presence as well. And I know it's not on the calendar, but
okay,
the jail just isn't understanding like the bond order. That's all.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. May have been how it was written, because you just did this or that. If they don't pick him up, then that. Yeah, I got you.
It's the or I think we're getting stuck on.
Okay. Maybe we'll have to figure out if there's a better way to do it. Let's see. We got Bosick, we got Miss Rowe, we got everybody we need. Come on in, gentlemen. Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat. Quit scratch. No, sir. No, sir. 5 South, booth 4. We don't want to see you drop your pants. I don't want to see anybody's underwear. We want to see anybody's rear end. Everybody in here, you're going to sit in the booth up straight. We're not going to go to sleep. We're not going to play with our hair. We're not going to mash our zits. Okay? We're going to pay attention. Gentlemen, I like to call this a you problem because you're the one in jail. All right. So what we're addressing today is everybody's bond. All right. So I'm going to give you a bond. Now, I seem to talk a little quicker because we're on night court and nobody wants to be here at night. You know, everybody wants to hurry up and get on with their day. So I will go over your charges, give you a number of bond per count. For instance, if burglary, criminal trespass, and I'll give a number per count. Okay. So if you're way smarter than me, if you can add up and keep up with it in your head, just keep up with the numbers in your head. But I'm also going to have some conditions. It may be to stay away from an address. It could be as much as stay out of Fulton County. No further contact. You could have an ankle monitor. So listen very closely. Your lawyer's going to mail you a copy of your bond order. But if you bond out before you get it, if I were you, what I would do is call my lawyer if I got out and I didn't get it and get a copy of my bond order. So I would know exactly what to do, because if you don't remember it, you may be out violating your bond and not necessarily know. Okay. Now, also, gentlemen, like I said, keep your head up. Don't play with your hair. Don't mess your zits. Don't let me see your underwear. Don't be grabbing anything in your pants. Come in, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. Get your hand out of the front of your pants, sir, when you stand up. I'm gonna see all that in front of the camera. Now, listen, y'all's family could be watching this. They don't want to see that. We're gonna get you out of here as quickly as possible, okay? So I understand that about this time, it's time for meds. So if they call you for meds, feel free to step outside, get them and come back in. I don't want to keep you from that, okay? I think most of them on food, they'll try to get it to you, but don't just walk out because you get bored, all right? Stay there. When I call your name, y'all are all on mute. I can't hear you. So if you're talking, you just need to wave your hand so I'll know whether you're there. Wave your hand at me. All right. If I ask you a question, it'll pretty much require a yes or a no. So a thumbs up for a yes, thumbs down for a no. Everybody got it? I didn't see us. I saw one thumbs up, 2, 3. Good. Perfect. Outstanding. Gentlemen, outstanding. Just standing. We'll start with Mr. Villanova, position 10, Bostic. 2-2 CP2. Oh, somebody asked me a question, wanted to ask me a question earlier, I think. Was it you, Mr. Sheridan? Before I get started, once I get
Yes.
started, I go right through it. What you got?
I can jump into my question, Judge Manning. Thank you. Attorney Michael Sheridan here. I'm here for Keyshawn Fuller, Your Honor.
Yes,
I don't
sir.
have exactly what position he is on the calendar. But Mr. Fuller was indicted on March 21st after this calendar had already been published, and he's been placed on the April 18th Carnsell calendar based on this recent indictment and myself entering an entry of appearance, Judge. What we would ask is that I do understand he has been indicted and he's been put on the judge's calendar, but I was asking the court if we could go ahead forward addressing bond today. Based on, of course, Mr. Fuller being incarcerated quite a long time, since December 22nd. His mother actually is on the way down with hopes of good news to post the bond for him. So we're asking if the court would indulge us with a bond this afternoon.
Come on, gentlemen, come on in, have a seat. Come in, have a seat. Have a seat, have a seat. Well, here's the thing, and Judge Cardoso or any others, if they want me to hear it, they've actually, I don't want you to start giving me permission, but they've said, yes, you're fine to hear it. But Judge Cardoso hasn't reached out to me and said, hey, do you mind hearing this for me? If she would have, I'd have been glad to, but once something's been indicted, it's assigned to a judge, not necessarily Judge Cardoso or any of the judges, but some may get a little bit, it's like their case. If she would have said, sure, will you hear it? Because I know there's been a couple that she's done that to, or another judge, I'd be glad to, but she hasn't reached out to me and asked me to, or I'd be more than glad to.
Understand, Your Honor. Understand. I had to ask.
Oh,
You
hey,
didn't answer unless you asked. I
there you
appreciate
go.
the
Right.
time,
Worst
Judge.
thing you can hear is no.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
All right. Thank you. Good to see you.
So the other cases for the folks that are on here, come on in, sir. Come on in, have a seat. That have been removed because they've either been indicted or their bond was dressed earlier is Walkins Bazil, Jabari Hightower, Miguel Zuniga Sanchez, because down there it says it's pending indictment. I think that was Mr. Cho to find out if Mr. Cho, did you find out if it was indicted?
There is an indictment number on Odyssey.
Okay, there you go. So that was indicted. So he's removed. Michael Lewis, that one was removed. And let's see, James Leake, because the bond was addressed March 29th. And Mr. Callaway, all of your cases, from what we can tell, I think have been indicted except for one. Am I right, Mr. Cazzoli?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so we're just going to hear one of the cases. I think it's the carjacking case. Okay, we'll hear that bond, Mr. All right, so that's it. So if I called you out, it's been removed, and we're kind of okay. I got Mr. Rice here because we'll hear that. She'll waive his presence. Okay, so Mr. Jesus Villanova, position 10, 22 CP 214-027. 135 days without indictment, trafficking in illegal drugs, and possession of a controlled substance in Schedule 1 or 2 with intent to distribute. $100,000 good bond as of November the 17th. Preach! Rah!
Judge, in regards to Mr. Villanueva, multi-state offender, 1 in California, 10 in Delaware, 20 in Georgia. He has at least 3 felonies, 06 forgery in the first, 02 aggravated assault. He's on probation in Cherokee for aggravated assault, terrorist threat, sentenced in 2015 for 10 years. Open misdemeanor in Fulton, 18 CR 0084081, battery, family violence, 3 arrests for probation violation. Nothing further.
Thank you, Bostic. So Ms. Kennebrew, it's 59.7 pounds of weed. All this is allegedly 130.5 grams of meth, 5.4 grams of fentanyl, 53.1 was this grams of edibles, and 26 grams of alleged shrooms and 60 pills of prazolam. That's what's alleged in all of the. I know you probably got all that. I'm not sure, but I just like to let you know just in case. And it also reminds all the new folks on here that I do pay attention. Go ahead, Ms. Kennebrew.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Villanueva has been in custody for 137 days without an indictment and without a preliminary hearing. All of these allegations are just that, they're allegations. He is 50 years of age. He does have 3 children as well as a wife that he would love to get home to. He did complete the 11th grade. Prior to being arrested, he was working in construction. He does have a valid address here in Georgia. He also has been living in Georgia for over 25 years, so he does have ties to the community. We're asking for a reasonable bond to be set not to exceed $40,000. Again, it has been 137 days without indictment and without a preliminary hearing.
All right, what says the state?
Thank you, Judge. The bond, well, first of all, our motion would be to deny defense counsel's motion at this matter. I think the bond as it is appropriate and with his given criminal history. And I will certainly add this to our list. And I know that he had not had a prelim in this case, but as we are looking at this file and his criminal history, the bond should stay as it is. We haven't heard anything that would warrant its reduction. Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Kennebrew, do you know the address he's going to live at?
I believe the address is going to remain 1324 Wood Creek Trail in Roswell, Georgia, 30076.
Okay. All right. So no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 475 Horton Drive. So it looks like there's an apartment number of A1303. I'm not real sure, but that address, if it's an apartment complex, stay away from the whole complex in Roswell. You can have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and employment. Sir, you plan on getting a job?
Yes,
All right. Just supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, a schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. You have to give that to Ms. Kennebrew. You also have to give that to the ankle monitoring company. You just because you're at the annex, you're the only ones that's that's not muted. Do you have small children?
no, they're grown.
Okay, all right. So any other reason you would need, obviously, and I include in this, if you're going to work, obviously you have to leave to go get food. I get it. So I guess maybe we should put what basic life necessities. Maybe we should start adding that, Miss Rowe, like grocery things. You know, you're gonna have to go to a grocery store, fill it. That's fine. All right. So with that 24-hour curfew, let's see, no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Give you a little reduction on each, 20,000 on each count. That ankle monitor will be paid for by the county. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
Your
you.
Honor.
All right, let's see. Thanks, ACDC. Cedric, wait a minute. Cedric Williamson. Is he in com? Cedric Williamson? Wave your hand if you're Cedric Williamson.
Judge, he's gonna be in 1 North, but the booths
Okay.
are all full, so it may be a moment if we can
Okay,
get
hold
a
on.
call.
So, oh, where's my list so I can get the com next? Where's my? What did I do with my rotation paper? Ah, there it is. Hold on. All right, so we got, let me see, what's the next one? We've got Alfred Pajimbo. I'm sorry, sir. I may have destroyed that. Thank you. Ms. Beck, this position 11, Bostic 22, CP 212400, 195 days without indictment. There is a $34,000 split bond. Now, try to make sure all these were on the calendar, but let me go by here, make sure.
You said Bostic?
Oh,
No.
no, Bostic's pretrial. No, this is Pajabio.
Oh, okay.
Pajibo,
Alfred.
Mr.
Thank you.
Pajibo, yes.
Yeah, so Pajibo, okay, thank you so much. So it is, I'm gonna make sure because I got the other bond order. Willful obstruction, removal or attempted removal of a weapon from a public official, possession of cocaine, fair evasion, willful obstruction misdemeanor, willful obstruction misdemeanor, purchase, possession, manufacture, distribution of marijuana. No, that was dismissed. Sorry about that. possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and possession of Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substance. Those are the only remaining charges left. The others were dismissed. Great. Rah.
In regards to the defendant judge, 2 arrests in Florida, 6 in Georgia, took a first offender on burglary in 2010. In Florida, only 2 convictions, and they for misdemeanors. 1 arrest for probation violation, nothing further.
Go ahead, Ms. Beck.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Pajibo is 32 years old. He's lived in Georgia for the last 10 years. He does have an 11-year-old daughter who also lives here in Georgia. In addition to his daughter, he has a sister and grandma that live here as well. He is a high school graduate. He graduated from Camden County High School. Prior to his arrest, he was doing installation work for housing, and he was also, prior to that, he was in a car accident, which did impact his ability to work. He was going to apply for disability, but
One North, Boo 2, sit down and keep your hand out of your pants when you stand in front of the camera. I'm sorry, Miss Beck, but that's just the most disgusting thing I get to see that just comes right in my face every time I look up. Go ahead.
he was in a car accident prior to his arrest, and he was going to be applying for disability based on the injuries that he suffered during that. Because he has been in for so long without indictment, we are asking for bail not to exceed $10,000, Your Honor.
And on here, it said the bond order before said he must live at 4059 MLK. Is that still an option? I don't want time to live somewhere where he's not able to live.
Unfortunately, Your Honor, he is not able to live there. We are hoping that once the bond gets low enough that we are able to get him into a program. So we would be looking for a program for him so that they can help with housing.
Okay. All right. What says the state?
Your Honor, at this time, the state would request that you deny defense counsel's motion for bond reduction at this time. And that's our position at this matter.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. And so do you want me to remove the previous must reside, Ms. Beck?
Yes, Your Honor, because he is, it's government housing, so he's not allowed to live there.
Okay.
But like I said, and I did explain to him, we do have to update an address once we get one, so he does know that he has to provide that to the court.
All right. Remind everybody, it's in Alex's house of hair. We're not going to play with her hair. We're not going to twist our hair. We're not going to match pimples. We're not going to stick our hands in her pants. We're not going to get up and keep walking out. All right. Nobody wants to see that. All right. So we'll remove that. And see, Drake had him on an ankle monitor paid for by the county. So the 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment, and participating in any program that you get him in. Okay. So once you get you in a program, sir, you just need to provide the address of where they've got you, where you'll be residing. All right. Let's see. So let me look back here. So willful obstruct, the felony obstruction 8-15 on count 2. I have to keep looking back here to see what they've set it down at. See, 500 on possession of cocaine. Hopefully the fair evasion is already a UJR through the jail. 500 on the 2 misdemeanor obstructions. 100 on the marijuana less than an ounce, and 100 on the possession of Schedule 1 or 2.
So Judge,
Yes, ma'am.
so we're doing 24-hour curfew and not
Yeah.
8 p.m. to
Yeah,
6
because I
a.m.
want to make sure he participates in a program that she gets him in.
Okay,
But, you know, court, medical, employment, meet with his lawyer, and also participate in a program and basic life necessities. If he's there and it requires him to go to the grocery store, that's fine. But sir, anytime you leave, you got to report to the ankle monitoring company, and I'd probably email Miss Beck and I definitely email Miss Beck and let her know where you're going. Okay. Thank you, sir. Best of luck to you. All right, Mr. Callaway, position 5. 22 CP 207107. Corliss Callaway, 394 days without indictment, hijacking a motor vehicle. There is a $100,000 good bond on this case as of October the 25th, 2022. Oh, Mr. Cazzoli got a nice haircut there. So, Mr. Cazzoli, as we spoke before, all his other cases have been indicted. This is the only one.
Which I apologize, Judge. Which position is this one?
This is position 5 on one of the add-on calendars.
Okay. I see it. Just the sole charge of hijacking motor vehicle.
Right,
Yeah.
that's the only case that hasn't been indicted. Free. Rah.
Just a second. Because I thought all his cases were removed.
Yeah, this is the only one. I
Yeah.
think it threw y'all because Mr. Cazoli got a fancy
He has
haircut. actually.
juvenile arrest. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he had any arrests before these cases except for juvenile arrest. He didn't. And those are for armed robbery, assault, possession of firearm. And no actual no pros. That's
All right.
it.
Go ahead, Mr. Cazoli.
Thank you, Your Honor, and good evening. Your Honor, Mr. Callaway, as you mentioned, has now been in jail for 394 days. He initially had one preliminary hearing only about I think 3 months after that, last June. The rest of them came in January. When I was ready to go forward with that, Your Honor, the DA.
Mr. Callaway, you want to listen to this or you want to just kick back? There you go. Go ahead, Mr. Cazoli. He wasn't really interested in what you were saying.
Yes, Your Honor. In January, when we were scheduled for our remaining prelims, the district attorney, the DDA walked up to me and said that we could waive his preliminary hearing because he was being indicted that Friday. That was on a Thursday, January 11th. That did not happen. We had the prelim. He was not indicted. 3 months later, we finally got up to a couple weeks ago when now I believe 8 of his 9 cases have been indicted, but we still have this one waiting. This bond has not changed from $100,000 since October 25th. So we're asking for a reduction down to $20,000. Mr. Callaway is 19. He's going to be turning 20 soon. He entered jail at 18. He still has a good address at 320 Fairburn Road, Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia, apartment G5, where he lives with his grandmother, his mother, and his grandfather. He's a lifelong Atlanta resident. His whole family is here. He has a daughter who was 1 year old when he went in, will be turning 3 soon. He was in 12th grade at the time of his arrest at North Metro GNET's program. And he was working with his grandfather doing odd jobs. Your Honor, we're asking for a significant reduction down to $20,000.
All right. What says the state?
Your Honor, thank you. At this time, we request you deny the defense counsel's motion. In this case, I mean, he's got at least 4, I guess, 4 other CP cases wrapped up in this indictment. And so at this time, I think the bond is appropriate as is. Thank you, Judge.
All right. I'm pretty sure there's enough that you're probably, the other cases have you on hold. However, no further contact with Sean, S-E-A-N, Simmons, S-I-M-M-O-N-S, Nicholas Kennedy, and Christopher Sims, S-I-M-S. And I'm also going to email Ms. Willis and remind her about this one case that's
Yes.
hanging out there. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 610 Spring Street. Have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court appearances, medical appointments, and legal meetings with your lawyer. I assume if you, and basic life skills, since you have a minor child, if you're the only parent that's there, if you happen to make bond, you'll have to, if it's a doctor's appointment or something for the minor child, sir, you can take care of that, but you've got to let Mr. Cazoli know and the ankle monitoring company, they'll violate your bond conditions on that.
Judge, can I get those, were those the victims or the co-defendants?
Those are all victims.
Can I get those names again? I have Sean Simmons.
Yeah, you get your email right, because I'm reading from my old bond order on the 25th.
Okay, okay, I'll look back at it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
the one I did, but yeah, Sean Simmons, Nicholas Kennedy, and Christopher Sims. And also no replicas of weapons, and no social media, no electronic devices, tablets, or any further affiliation with any gang members, especially anybody a member of Playing for Keeps or the Goodfellas gang. No calling gang members as of, hopefully you haven't, I've had it back then, 6/2/2022. Must supply an updated address upon release. And then I had, if not, I have on here for some reason, you may not reside at 320 Fairburn Road. I think that was because of another charge, Mr. Cazoli.
Yes, Your Honor. Again, he is going to be kept in due to these indicted cases. I'm not sure it makes much of a difference, but I will, we'll make sure we get a proper address before his release.
All right. And then no, you're not getting out. I'll reduce it $75,000. Best of luck to you, sir. Thank you, Cobb. Let's see. Do we have Cedric Williamson yet? The two Cobb gentlemen, y'all can let them know y'all can go. Cedric Williamson yet? Nope. All right. Bernard Duffy. Wave your hand if you're Bernard Duffy.
Judge, that case I had was being removed. It was gonna be reset based on it being a conflict attorney that she emailed us
Yeah,
about.
You're right. You're right. My bad. Thank you so much. What about Larry Gunn? Larry Gunn. There you go, Mr. Gunn. All right. This should be Mr. Anderson. Is he on?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. This is position 21, Bostic 22 CP 214434. Larry Jerome Gunn, 117 days without indictment, aggravated assault, no bond as of December the 5th. Free. Rah.
Larry Gunn, 30 prior arrests, 4 arrests for probation violations, 4 misdemeanors, 2 FTAs, 2011 terror, 2010 terror, 2010 attempt to kill, obstruct a witness.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Gunn has been in jail for 117 days, no bond, no indictment. He is 49 years old, has lived in Georgia for 33 years. He attended Clark Atlanta University. He is homeless. We have a social worker working on getting him placement, probably looking for a drug program, hopefully. He has 5 adult kids and 5 grandkids in the area. He acknowledges he's had some prior failures to appear. That's largely just due to his housing situation or lack thereof. That would not be an issue if he were to get into a program. So, unfortunately, I do not have an update on the status of that yet, but, we would just ask for him to, pending on his admission into a residential program, to be released into that pending trial.
All right. What says the state?
Thank you, Judge. Briefly, the state would recommend 25,000, good bond. Obviously, no weapons, no contacts, stay away from the incident location, and any other terms and conditions the court deems appropriate in this matter.
Well, you said 25?
Yes, 25,000.
All right. All right, we'll do a $25,000 good bond, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 3535 Peachtree Road. No further contact with Robert. I got Seagrest.
Yes.
Ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, and participation in a program if Mr. Anderson gets you in a program. So you can do that. You must supply an address before they let you out. One of your bond conditions, you have to supply an address to the jail. So if Mr. Anderson gets you into a place, he'll at least be able to give something there where your notices can be sent. They'll know which way where you'll be staying. Because some people give you temporary housing, and then after 30 days, they move you somewhere else. I don't know. This hold's still in out there, is it, Bostic? There's one on here on East Point on his booking sheet.
If it's still showing on his booking, then it's still there.
All right. If there is a hold, usually the case managers put you out 48 hours to get your ankle monitor placed on you after you get released from that hold. Best of luck to you, sir. Oh, we can also put employment, I guess, right, Mr. Anderson? It's part of some of those programs is getting him employment.
I'm not sure the details, but we could put that as well. Yes.
Okay, employment, if they get you a job through this program, sir, but you got to provide proof of employment, name of your employer, location, and your schedule. You have to supply that to the ankle monitoring company and Mr. Anderson. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. All right, what about? So do we have the conflict here for Keyshawn? What do we do with Keyshawn Wiggins? There's a conflict for that one, right?
It's not a conflict, Judge. I'm covering for Attorney Gordon.
Okay, Keyshawn. All right. I know you want to wave sounding, and Bostic's, a champ at doing the right thing and she's smarter than most of us probably. This position 1, Keyshawn Wiggins, 22 CP 210728, 259 days without indictment. There is a $20,000 good bond as of November the 2nd. Free trial.
His position, what?
It's what the add-on calendar, Bostic.
I don't have that.
Add-on?
My add-on number 1 is.
Well, there were two add-on calendars. One with all the.
Oh, there it is. Never mind. Got it.
Yeah.
Never mind. Two
Okay,
prior arrests, his first arrest was dismissed.
You got it, Mr. Jenkins?
yes, I
Okay.
do.
All right. All right, go ahead, Ms. Beck.
It's me, Judge.
I'm sorry, Ms. Pinto.
That's okay. Yes, Mr. Wiggins was granted a $20,000 bond in November of last year. He has been unable to pay that bond. We are asking for a reduction today. He, as stated by pretrial, he has no felony convictions, only 2 prior arrests, one of which was dismissed. Regarding his Ayala factors, Mr. Wiggins did go to high school until the 12th grade, but he was not able to graduate. He is currently working on, well, prior to arrest, working on his GED. He is close with his family. He's lived with them his entire life. Prior to his arrest, he was living with his father, Donald Wiggins, and his mother, Stephanie Wilkes. His family is all here in Atlanta, Judge, so he has strong ties to the community. In addition, Judge, he has had a lot of issues while incarcerated. He's been physically assaulted. He's been extorted. And this has all happened consistently to him over the past few months. Accordingly, his family is deeply concerned about his safety. And the jail has tried to move him to help, but nothing has helped, Judge. He continues to get attacked. His family is indigent. They cannot afford bond. As stated, he's not at a risk of committing any further felony, or being arrested for any felonies. He has no convictions. The one other arrest, I understand to be a misdemeanor. He's not a flight risk. His entire family is here. He intends to return to court and fight these charges, Judge. He has no history of failing to appear in court. He's not at risk of intimidating any witnesses. He will abide by any orders of the court, including if a no contact order is, or no contact provision is put in place. He does not wish to have any contact with the alleged victim or her family. He's also not a danger to the community. Judge, we are asking for a UJR based on the fact that his family cannot pay bond. And given, his safety issues at the at the jail, he's been stabbed multiple times. And, he's already been deemed eligible for a bond, Judge. We're simply asking for one that would be reasonable for someone in his financial situation.
Okay. What says the state?
thank you, Judge. Briefly, we request you deny defense counsel's motion. We don't see any facts, circumstances that would warrant a reduction in this case. We believe the bond is appropriate as is. It's $20,000 good bond with the same conditions. Thank you, Judge.
Has there been contact with the victim or victim's family?
I cannot say that at this point. I don't know, and I do apologize to the court. However, with the allegations, obviously it appears to be a minor, and so that causes certainly the state concern in connection with any potential contact. And the defendant, as stands here, or not stands, but sitting here today, already has a bond, and so we just don't believe anything justifies a reduction in that.
Is the Beecher Road, Ms. Pinto, where on the bond conditions that the other judge did, another judge did this bond, it said must reside at, that's where he will live?
He can reside there, Judge, or he can reside with his parents. The problem is I think the alleged victim is in the same complex as his parents.
Oh, okay, so that may be why they did that. Okay. Yeah, and it may be harder to stay away. All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with, the name's already on the previous bond order, so, but NL, minor, no further contact with anyone under the age of 18. Stay away from 3540 North Camp Creek Parkway. So we'll do the must reside at 2136 Beecher, Beecher Road in Atlanta, Georgia. You'll have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment. As long as you provide proof of employment, name of employer, and the location, exact location you'll be working, and a schedule. Third, that doesn't mean you get a job and then leave it after you've shown proof and act like you're going to work, because they do monitor the ankle monitors. That ankle monitor and staying away from there of 259 days. I'll put this name on my list. $15,000.
Yes.
Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave.
Judge, could we, I know he's returning to his GED studying. Could we add a 24-hour exception to something like
Sure.
regarding his GED or education?
Sure, you can work on your GED, sir. You can add that, Miss Rose, as long as you provide proof you're enrolled in class and go into the classes, okay? Thank you. Mr. Wiggins, you can leave your booth.
Got it,
Judge, what was
Judge.
that booth amount? What was that bond amount? I'm sorry.
15,000. Because somebody said it at 20, but he's been in 259 days. Yes, Ms.
And
Rose, you got,
Yes, I do. You said 2136 Beecher Road, correct? That's where he must reside.
everything. Yeah, I'm reading off the previous bond order. When I scan you all that, it's this there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah,
Okay.
2136. Yes, ma'am. All right, let's see. Tremaine Jordan. Tremaine Jordan. No Tremaine Jordan yet? Nope, there you are. All right, this is position 1. This may have been on one of the add-ons. This is 22 CP 214076. But what I see here is there's already a bond order for $7,500. Where's Mr. Lang?
That's what I have.
And I didn't see where they had came off of it. Sir, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I mean, do you know if they've came off your bond? I see. I just need a thumbs up or a thumbs down. They did come off your bond. Okay. So Mr. Lang's not here. Anybody want to?
Your Honor, I apologize. I am present. I
Okay.
did not see this case on one of the calendars. Can we handle this case next to give me time just to grab the file?
Sure, because he said it looks like Atlantic Bonding may have came off his bond.
Yes, Your Honor. I apologize for the oversight. on
No,
that.
no, that's okay. I mean, we all make, we're good. Thanks. Yeah, we'll come back to you right after I handle this next one. Let Mr. Lang pull his file up, okay? Jose Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor, and we would waive reading of the charges on that.
Okay, and you need, does he need an interpreter?
No.
Okay. So we got position 23, 22 CP 214450, Jose Hernandez at 118 days without indictment and no bond. Of course, you charged with 2 felonies. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mr. Hernandez, 5 prior arrests, does not appear to have any felonies, 2 arrests for probation violations, 2 misdemeanors, drug-related objects, and DUI. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Your Honor. As you said, Mr. Hernandez has been in jail for 118 days, no bond, no preliminary hearing, no indictment. He is 28 years old, currently lives with his partner in Smyrna. His father, sister, brothers, grandparents, basically entire extended family is here in Georgia. He has lived in Georgia since he was 6 years old in the metro area for the past 2 years. I've spoken with his partner a few times. Everyone's been very involved with his case. He would be able to return to that Smyrna address. Prior to his arrest, he worked as a server at the Italiano restaurant at the Battery and would be able to return to work. He has a high school diploma and a trade diploma for medical assistance. Basically he has never left Georgia, aside from a childhood trip to Florida. So he's not a flight risk. He has strong ties to the community. And, without getting again into the details of the case, the warrant on its face is totally void of arguably the most essential element of the charge, which goes to the Lane v. State factors, the apparent probability of conviction, likely sentence, as far as those factors are relevant to appearance. Basically, Mr. Hernandez is very eager to get this to trial and get this resolved. I would also note that the pretrial report specifically says he is a release level score of a 1 and specifically recommends him for UJR, which is what we would request.
All right, what says the state?
Thank you, Judge. Obviously, our position is different. We request you to deny defense counsel's motion. However, of course, he is entitled to the bond through statute. And thou, they're merely allegations. They are predatory in nature. And as such, state's requesting $500,000 on count 1, $500,000 on count 2 cash for $1 million with the following conditions. He's banned from Fulton County, that he has no contact with the alleged victim, who was a minor. The no social media, 24-hour curfew, ankle monitor, stay away, and the other terms and conditions the court deems appropriate in this matter. Thank you, Judge.
All right, so I looked through, I didn't have, do you have the victim's initials? Because I didn't really.
Hold on, let me check the warrant, Your Honor.
Because I looked, of course, I was been working, I could have missed it.
Now, you've, hold on. Let me bring this thing up here. 214.
I didn't know if it was like a alleged sting or.
It
This
is.
is, I have contacted this person through Grindr. Hold on.
Wait, who just said something?
Your Honor,
No.
maybe
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, it was you. I was thinking maybe it was somebody else who's on here laying in their bed, and I was about to lose my mind. Okay, so it was you, Miss Taylor?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so it was. So there's not, it's just anyone under 18.
Yes.
All right. Anything else you want to add, Miss Taylor?
Hey, stay away from internet, social media, everything else.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no use of a computer. Internet/computer, no use of any of these, I guess, dating or hookup apps. One specific, I think, is Grindr or any other social media dating hookup, whatever apps. No further contact with anyone under the age of 18. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and employment. Keeping in mind these other conditions, as long as you supply the name of your employer, location, schedule, and proof of employment. But you have to comply with those other conditions. So if that doesn't, then you can't do that. You got to stay out of Fulton County. The only reason you come to Fulton County's court or to see your lawyer. Did you want to respond, Mr. Anderson?
Yes, Your Honor. We would object to a broad ban from Fulton counties that is not related to any of the elements of the case. There's actually some case law on that. Related to, it's Dudley v. State. It's Court of Appeals case 230 Georgia App 339. Specifically said total banishment from the county was one of the conditions imposed, and it said such restrictions appear to be totally unrelated to the offense for which the defendant was convicted. This was for a
That's for a
supersedious
conviction
bond,
when somebody, yeah.
and therefore unreasonable as a matter of law. So, in this case, I think the protections for pretrial release are even stronger since there's no conviction than they would be in a post-trial situation. So therefore, I would say a blanket ban from Fulton County is unreasonable and unrelated to the case.
I think the nature of the crime and that it occurred in Fulton County is worth banning to protect our citizens of Fulton County. All right, so I'm gonna do $300,000 on each count, a total of a $600,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor, I believe, oh, no, sorry.
I think that's it for you. I
Yes,
think it was the
that's-
only case, right, Mr. Anderson? Good to see you again.
I'm
It's been
sorry,
a
yeah,
long
I'm sorry.
time, like
I'm sorry.
30
I was
minutes.
looking at something else. What was the amount? again?
300 per count.
Okay, thank you.
It was like I saw you 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, thank you, Your Honor.
DeAndre Mobley.
Your Honor, I am prepared on Mr. Jordan whenever. the court
Okay.
is.
All right, so Mr. Hernandez, you can leave the booth. So we got Tremaine Jordan, go back to number 1. 22 CP 214076, 116 days without indictment, criminal damage to property the second degree. There was a $7,500 good bond that I said previously, November the 19th, but they came off that bond. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mr. Jordan, 17 prior arrests, 2 FTAs, 2 misdemeanors, 1 being a simple battery in 2021. First offender on the aggravated assault in the 2015 purchase, manufacturing, and sale. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Lang.
Yes, Your Honor. To start, I'm a little confused as to why we find ourselves in this position. I did look back at the previous jailing and this jailing. I did find the documentation filed by Alpha Bonding stating that they were surrendering this bond. There does not appear to be any reason given. So I am unsure entirely why this bond was even surrendered in the first place. However, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the new bond. Mr. Jordan is 34 years old. He is a lifelong resident of Georgia with his entire family living here as well. Lives at the good address on record with his aunt and brother. He has 2 children, age 14 and 16, whom he sees every weekend and provides for in every way he is able to. At the time of his arrest, he was working as a forklift driver. He's been doing that for the last 2 years. He was initially only detained on this case for 4 days before making the previous bond. However, now that that bond had been surrendered, he's been sitting in custody for 116 days, waiting for the opportunity to get a new bond in this case. Based on the nature of the offense in this case, it is a single count of criminal damage to property. I would ask the court to consider actually setting a lower bond than was initially set and setting $5,000, since he's now back in custody and having to attempt to pay this bond a second time. Otherwise, based on the fact that we have no information as to why the bond was initially surrendered, I would ask the court just to reinstate the previously existing bond of $7,500 good.
All right, what says the state?
Your Honor, in this matter, I'm leaving the court's discretion in connection with the bond. I'm not certain as to why the bond was,
Yeah, and I didn't know
surrendered.
if it had been, or that's why I couldn't really tell. And sometimes there's a reason on there.
Right.
So we will do no further contact with Dayshundra, Dayshundra, middle name Ronika, Ronnika, last name Wilson, Wilson. Stay away from 2500 Center Street in Atlanta, Georgia, at $5,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. You lay the boot, sir. So now we got DeAndre Mobley, or Mobley. DeAndre, there you go. Mr. Cho, position 14, Bostic 22 CP 212477. 193 days without indictment. As of December the 5th, there is a $50,000 good bond. We've got aggravated assault vehicle into person, willful obstruction of law enforcement officer, misdemeanor, fleeing, attempting to elude, driving, hit and run, reckless driving, no insurance, and suspended registration. Preach. Wow. Sir, 5 South, booth 4, what are you doing? Ordering food? Snacks? Checking your messages? Yeah, okay. Don't. You can do that after this. Bostic. Preach. Wow.
In regards to Mr. Mobley, 23 prior arrests, 5 misdemeanors, 4 arrests for probation violation, 1 FTA, 4 felonies. Nope, ain't been more than that. He has prior firearm by convicted felon, entering auto, theft by shoplifting, firearm by convicted felon, criminal attempt at a felony, firearm by convicted felon, aggravated assault, on probation from 2018, out of Clayton, 3 years. Confinement, 4 years probation. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cho. Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you, Your
Yeah,
Honor.
Go ahead, yeah.
Judge, before you use Mr. Mobley, his bond, I believe, is approximately $50,000 right now. This is a case where he has been in custody for some time, 193 days. The probable cause hearing was done in, I think, December. So there does appear to be some delays in the processing of this case. The last bond was heard on December 5th, 2022, and in between that time, there have been numerous changes in circumstances for Mr. Mobley while he's been at the 901 Rice Street Jail, including being injured, beaten, having his bones broken, apparently, and threatened by other people at said jail. Veronica Barnwell is someone who loves Mr. Mobley very much, and his family as well have been trying to scrap together the funds for a bond, but it is out of the family and friends' reach. And so he has ties to the community. There is nothing further the defense can do at this point until the case is indicted. There are, it's my understanding, 2 outstanding holds currently showing, one for Fairburn and one for Clayton County. If the court's inclined, would ask the court to consider a UJR to the hold. If the court is not so inclined, we're asking the court to consider a reduction in this case. We'd ask the court to consider a reduction in half. Nothing further.
All right, what says the state?
Very briefly, Judge, we believe that the bond, as it currently sets, it's appropriate with the defendant's criminal history and likelihood to catch another offense. The fact that he's on probation with these current charges, that merely allegations, of course, but he's just not an appropriate candidate for a reduction at this time, Judge. Thank you.
All right. So this is another judge that set this. So let's see, going to be no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Mr. Cho, this other judge said must reside at Kingswood Circle. Is that still where you'll be living, sir? I need a thumbs up or a thumbs down. There you go. Okay. So there's no problem with that. So must reside at 5254 Kingswood Circle in Atlanta, 30349. Got a ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical appointments, employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, place of employment, schedule, the exact location you will be working. You have to supply that to Mr. Cho and the ankle monitoring company, sir. If you don't, that'll be a violation of your bond and they will revoke it. And also it says no driving. Yeah, she put no driving. No, let's see, stay away from 840 Sonoya Road. And like I said, the ankle monitor will be paid for by the county. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. So I've got, let's see, 193 days. 15,000. Count 1, 500. Count 2. 8,000, count 3. 8,000, count 4. Reckless, 3,000, 1,000, and 1,000. $15,500, $8,000, 8,000, 3,000, 1,000, 1,000. Got that, Ms. Rowe?
Yes, Judge, I have it. Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you. I added condition, so when I do, I give him a little, drop it down. So, all right, best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Mr. Cho will call you later. Russell Warner. All right, Ms. Pinto. Disposition 122 CP 214551. 112 days without indictment. Possession of firearm by a convicted felon. Criminal trespass, damage to property, giving false information. Law enforcement officer. No bond as of December the 9th. Free trial.
Who did you say?
Russell Warner. I was counting on you to make it go fast tonight, boss.
Judge, in regards to Mr. Warner, number 46. 46 prior arrests, I mean. Felony, he has 9, FTA 1. He's on 3 probation, 17 SC 154250, arson in the second, 2 counts, arson in the first, 1 count criminal damage to property sentence in 2018, 10 years, 19 SC 168325, aggravated assault, family violence, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, firearm during, firearm by, 19 SC 168693, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, firearm during, firearm by. Both of those cases were sentenced on the same day, 7/31/20, 1 year confinement, 4 years probation. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Pinto.
Thank you, Judge. Yes, Mr. Warner has been incarcerated 112 days with no bond. Thus, he is entitled to a bond. He is 50 years old. If released from jail, he would reside on Browning Street. That's a rooming house, and he spoke with them just a couple days ago, and they confirmed that his room is still available. I'm not sure if that's, so I'll need to file a change of address, Judge, to make sure that he receives his notices there. He is native to Atlanta. He's lived here his entire life. He does have 3 children, ages 16, 16, and 21 years old. He does have his GED, and in addition, he did some mechanics training at Atlanta Area Technical College. He was working at the time of his arrest at Solutions A&E. They do repairs on the guardrails on expressways. They have a contract with DOT. So he's worked there for 3 years. He is confident he can return to that job. He spoke with them since arrest, and he is confident he can return. He does have family in the area, his mother, his sister, his brother. Judge, we are asking for a reasonable bond for Mr. Warner today. He is indigent, so he cannot afford much. We would ask for a UJR on the 2 misdemeanors and a $5,000 bond on the felony.
All right. What says the state? And I see that the alleged victim is on here. Miss Henderson.
Yes, Judge. Being that this defendant is entitled to a bond, we want one that's appropriate. And so obviously no contact with the victim in this case. In addition, $20,000 on the possession of firearm by convicted felon, $1,000 on the remaining misdemeanors, cash. Stay away, 24-hour ankle monitor, 24-hour curfew, excuse me, Your Honor. Ankle monitor, stay away, and it appears that he is a repeat offender, which obviously with his 46 cycles, felonies and misdemeanors in these matters. And we'll certainly put this on our list for expedited charging.
Miss Henderson, would you like to address the court, or are you just here to see?
I'm just here.
Okay, so do you have an opinion?
I dropped the charges.
Well, no, that's not an opinion that we accept.
Oh.
But you're just here. I got you, because we don't do that. This is bond. You want to do that? You handle it somewhere else. But I appreciate you. Thank you. All right.
Judge, can we ask how she feels about bond?
All right, Miss Henderson, how do you feel about bond? But you got Miss Henderson. Hold on, Miss Henderson. So you have to turn your camera on.
Turn the camera on.
Yes, ma'am. You can raise your.
Oh, I want them to have a bond.
Hold on. You raise your right hand for me.
Oh.
Do you swear a firm testimony about to give us truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Henderson. What is your, you want him to have a bond, okay?
I want him to have a bond.
Okay, anything else you want to ask Miss Pinto?
Yes, Judge. Miss Henderson, how do you feel about having contact with Mr. Warner?
Oh, it's fine. He can call me anytime.
Are you in fear of him in any way?
No. I'm his mother.
You're his mother.
Right.
Yes.
Well, you're the victim. He damaged stuff in your car. You had to call the police. So are you wanting contact? No violent contact?
No violent contact, but he can call me.
We'd be fine with no violent contact, Judge.
All right, Ms. Rowe, if you put on there that the alleged victim appeared, that'd be fantastic.
I will.
With the 5 North, booth 4, come on in here. Set it back down. All right, so we got no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. You can only go back to 590 Cascade Avenue if you are invited. Only if you're invited by your mother. You understand that? All right. No further violent contact with Samia Henderson. You still have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, employment. As long as you supply the name of your employer, place of employment, location you'll be working, and a schedule. You have to supply that on a weekly basis or however you're given your assignments. And also, sir, you must provide the address where you're going to be living. And if Ms. Pinto's getting you in some sort of program, you can leave to participate in any type of program that she gets you into. 15,000, 1,000, 1,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. All right, Kaylin Giles. Kaylin Giles. All right. Well, it looks like you were stretching, not waving. All right, position 2. 22 CP 211179, 240 days without indictment. So we got possession of firearm by a convicted felon, giving a false name, address, date of birth to law enforcement officer, and theft by receiving stolen property.
Wait a minute.
Right.
Position 2 on a add-on calendar.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jenkins.
Kaylin Giles. Thank you, guys.
It's the one with
Got it.
6.
Yeah,
Mr. Giles, 9 prior arrests, 3 misdemeanors, couple of FTAs and first offenders. First offender on an entering auto, first offender on a burglary. Currently on probation, entering auto, 5 counts, sentenced in 2018, July of 2018. 1 year confinement, 4 years probation. A felony fleeing and eluding in 2019, and then on probation from 2021 for criminal use of an item with an alter ID firearm out of Cherokee for 10 years. Nothing further.
all right. Go ahead, Mr. Cazzoli.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before proceeding on bond, I just want to make sure that that we have the right charges listed out. It's my understanding that
So the robbery by sudden snatching and possession of firearm or knife during the commission of felony.
yes,
Was
yes, Your Honor, was the I believe the case with the possession of a firearm was still included on the calendar, but it's not on Odyssey, I believe. So everything should be correct.
Well, the possession of firearm by a convicted felon. Let's see. The only 2 I had that were dismissed was robbery by sudden snatching and possession of firearm during the commission of an attempt to commit certain felonies.
That's what I see as well, Your Honor.
There's still possession of firearm by a convicted felon.
Okay, understood, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Mr. Giles is 23 years old. He's had a birthday since his arrest. He has a good address still at 746 Mayland Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia, 30310, where he lives with his father. He lived there 5 years before his arrest in August. He's a lifelong Atlanta resident. His mother, his grandmother, his children, and his aunt all live in Atlanta as well. Your Honor, he was working at Sky Cylinder, a warehouse doing loading for 2 years before his arrest. His bond is currently set at $10,500, Your Honor. He had his preliminary hearing back in December and there has been no indictment. So we are asking for a reduction to $5,000 so that he might qualify for the bail project.
What says the state?
Briefly, Judge, we request you deny defense counsel's motion in this matter. We believe the bond is appropriate as stated with his criminal history. And so that's all, Judge. Thank you.
So, Mr. Gazzoli, like on the other ones, some judges put they must reside at. Is he still allowed to reside at the Maryland Avenue?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe when, the most up-to-date information I have, I believe, is from January. Mr. Giles, if you can put your thumb up, sir, are you still able to stay with your father at that address?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Just want to make sure. All right. I don't want to put it on there, then he ends up jamming him up because he can't live there. All right, so no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 680 Lee Street Northwest. Stay away from all MARTA property, sir. Bus stops, train stations, anything that's got MARTA on it. You can't, if you're walking down the street, you walk past the bus stop, you cannot sit down on that bench and tie your shoe. That would be a violation of your bond condition to sit down on a bench with MARTA at a MARTA bus stop and tie your shoe. Walk past that, sit down on another curb and tie your shoe. No further contact with Charlatine, SCHARLOTTINE Banks, BANKS, and Renee, RENAY Banks. And no further stay away from no further contact with your co-defendants, Marcus Brookins, BROOKINS, Jamar Cullins, CULLINS, and Simeon Glover, SIMEON Glover, MEON Glover. An ankle monitor paid for by the county. You have a 24-hour curfew, court, medical emergencies, lawyers' appointments, medical appointments, and employment. As long as you supply the name of your employer, place of employment, the exact location you'll be working as scheduled. You have to supply that to your lawyer and to the ankle monitoring company. Must reside at 746 Maryland Avenue Southwest. If that, for some reason, that address isn't available, sir, you have to supply your address where you will be living upon bonding out. So if it's that one, you need to confirm it. And I think I said no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons already. All right, so let's see. I added a few things. 5,000, 1,000, 1,000. Best of luck to you, sir. And I'll put this one on my email this evening. Got my
Thank you,
stack
Donna.
already going here. All right,
Thank
so
you, Judge.
yeah, we got Travius Duggan. Mr. Duggan. There you go, Mr. Duggan, Mr. Lang.
Yes, Your Honor, Mr.
All right,
Dugan.
it's position 422 CP 211441. Travius Jamal Duggan, 230 days without indictment, aggravated assault, willful obstruction, felony, carrying a weapon within school safety zones at school functions or school property, theft by shoplifting, misdemeanor, disrupting public school, possession of firearm or knife during the commission of felony. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mr. Duggan, 19 prior arrests, 7 misdemeanors, 2 arrests for probation violations, 2 FTAs, arrest in North Carolina and a hold, felonies in Georgia, controls, well, no, it was the first offender in 04, and a DUI in 2015. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Lang.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Dugan is 39 years old. He was 38 at the time of his arrest. He celebrated his 39th birthday in Fulton County custody. Born and raised here in Georgia, has lived at the address on his booking report with his aunt for several years. That is a family home that has been in his family as long as he's been alive. He had a child born on December 27th of last year. His first child, his son Jason, whom he has not even been able to see a photograph of, let alone meet. He graduated from high school in 2002, graduated from Clarkston High School. He then went to the Brunswick Job Corps, where he got a certification in both residential and commercial painting and welding. He has those certifications as well as a forklift operator certification and his CDL. He's been working for a Kroger distribution center for 6 years as a forklift driver there. He has been in contact with them while he's been in custody and has been told that no matter how long he is in custody, that job will be waiting for him. They will hold a spot for him so that he is able to return to work upon his release. Listening to his history, also looking at the nature of this case, Your Honor, Mr. Dugan has been in custody for 230 days on this case. He had his preliminary hearing back on November 30th of 2022. That was actually the second set date for that preliminary hearing. The officer didn't even bother showing up the first time, then showed up 3 hours late the second time. His mother, who should be on the call today, has been present for every single court hearing he has had in this case. He has extensive family ties and extensive family support in this matter. The state could have indicted this case any day after November 30th and has not. Based on the information presented, I am asking the court for a very low bond. I have spoken with Mr. Dugan and his family. The maximum bond he can afford is a $10,000 bond. So I am asking the court for a $10,000 bond. $2,500 on the ag assault, UJRs on the obstruction, theft, and disrupting school, $2,500 on the carrying weapon, and $5,000 on the firearm during. I understand that may sound low, Your Honor. He has been in custody for 230 days, 4 months past his preliminary hearing, and there has been no movement on this case. It is unjust and unfair to continue to hold Mr. Dugan in custody when the state does not appear to be moving on this case in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. Let's see. Hold on one second. 1 North, booth 4. You okay? Are you okay? Okay. All right. Just didn't know if you weren't feeling well. All right. What says the state?
Thank you, Judge. We request that you deny defense counsel's motion in this case for bond reduction. He is, I believe, 30,000 straight bond, and with his prior criminal history and where his status is, we believe the bond is appropriate. Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Lang's not surprised. I'm gonna add a few conditions. Mr. Duggan, my sincere congratulations on your first child. However, no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. He gonna live in Decatur? Still gonna live in Decatur,
Yes,
sir?
Yes, Your Honor. The Decatur
Okay,
address.
he's still gonna live in Decatur. Can you hear now, Mr. Duggan? Okay. All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 111 Boulevard Northeast, Hope Hill Elementary School, and any schools in Fulton County, since you live in Decatur. So you're gonna stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. No further contact with DULALMRIDAH.
Your Honor, for the stay out of Fulton County, can I ask that employment be an exception to that as well? I believe the warehouse he works at is within the Fulton County border.
Okay, employment, that's fine, employment only, as long as he supplies his schedule and that location he's gonna be working every time. All right. So we got. You got 9,000, 5,000, 4,000, $100 on the misdemeanor, and then 1,000 and 8,000, 9,000, 5,000, 4,000, $100, 1,000 and 8,000. You got that, Miss Rowe?
Yes, Judge.
All
Thank
right,
you.
there you go. Best of luck to you, sir. Did you hear that? You can leave the booth. I don't know who's really. Were you able to hear, sir?
Mr. Dugan, she said a $27,000 bond. I'm going to talk to your family and figure out what we do from here.
Judge, you want me to unmute it?
Well, you go over to, if you want to, sir, go over to booth 1 real quick. Go next door. I don't know if he could hear in there. Was right next to each other. Where'd he go? All right, if he comes back, we'll tell him. All right. Okay, there you go. So Laterio Woods.
Your Honor, that concludes my business before you. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
22C is position 5, 22CP 211788. I think this one may be on the add-on. Who's covering this for Miss Bray this evening? Miss
I'm
Pinton.
Judge. What was the client's name?
Laterio Woods. That's 22CP 211788. 218 days without indictment, possession of a firearm or a knife during the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies, theft by receiving stolen property, felony, possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Pre-trial.
Woods, multi-state offender, 3 in Tennessee, 2 in Mississippi, 2 in Georgia. In Mississippi, he has a 2020 theft by receiving stolen property, false information. Tennessee, there's a hold for larceny. And then in Dorville, there's a hold for carjacking. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Miss Pinto.
Thank you, Judge. Sorry, there they are. Mr. Woods, is 21 years old. His address is actually in Memphis, Tennessee, Judge. That's where he resides with his mother. And that's where he would need to go if released on bond. He did get his GED in 2020. And he has been deemed eligible for a bond. He was granted a $10,500 bond. And we are asking for a reduction. He has, of course, not been able to pay that bond. It's too high for him and his family. Sorry, Judge. And so we would ask for a reduction by half.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Jenkins.
Thank you. Very briefly, Judge, we request that the United Defense Counsel's motion at this time. We believe the defendant's current $10,500 bond is appropriate and with the same conditions and any other adjustments the court believes in its discretion is appropriate.
All right. So I'm going to add some couple of conditions here. So
Absolutely.
no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Lance Browder, Browder. Also stay away from 6120 Peachtree Dunwoody Road. He's gonna be living in Memphis.
I didn't hear what you said, Judge.
Yeah, he's gonna be living in Memphis, Mr. Jenkins. Is that where he's gonna be living?
He's got a he's got a hold out of he's got a Doraville pending charges in Doraville for armed robbery.
I was carjacking. So he gets released from his hold and goes and handles that. Is he gonna go back to Memphis, Miss Pinto?
Well, the only hold I see is for Tennessee. So he would be transferred to Tennessee, presumably.
Boston.
On his GCIC, there's a hold in Doraville for carjacking.
That's not on the jailing side.
Oh, and GCIC. Oh, yeah. Oh, for a warrant. So any other
Yes,
restrictions?
when you run the GCIC, if they have holds, it pops up who has warrants, whether or not they were extradited, etc.
Okay, so well, ultimately, when he's released from custody, his residence is Memphis, so that's where he would go.
All right. So anything else you want to add, Mr. Jenkins?
If he were, I would like to ban him from every state in the every state. What am I saying? Every county in the state of Georgia, except for possibly Clayton, and court appearances here in Fulton County. Clayton would be before the airport would be added if there aren't a proper hold from Doraville regarding this hijacking motor vehicle case.
So,
Judge, I don't see how a statewide ban would be relevant at all to this case that's on the calendar.
Well, I think what concerns him is most of the other stuff, but we'll do. And do you want an ankle monitor? I won't prove he's going to come back here for this case. Is my concern if he's going to be in Memphis.
Well, Judge, I mean, the bond is the assurance that he would come back. I don't think that, as far as I know, the ankle monitor company cannot monitor him if he's living outside.
Yeah, they do. They can.
That I did know. Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, they can.
If they can monitor him in Memphis with conditions, we can do. I would approve of that. I request that, Judge. I didn't know that myself.
The other part of if there's holds out there, even though he has a presumption, it makes me kind of concerned.
Sure.
So I'm adding, since I'm adding some, so ankle monitor, 24-hour curfew, court lawyer, medical, employment. As long as you supply the name of your employer, place of employment, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. The only reason you should come back to Georgia is for court or to see your lawyer. Stay out of Fulton County. So for court or to see your lawyer. So since I added some, I'll make it 4, 3. Wait a minute. Somebody put and 4,000, 3,000, and 100 on the misdemeanor marijuana. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, ma'am. Frederick Woodruff. All right, position 12. Wait, I think that's one I need to. Yep, I'll put that one in my email too. Position 12, 22 CP 214724. Frederick Woodruff, 116 days without indictment. So we got. And if we can please put this on the record that I am not the one that set these bonds on these gang charges.
Okay.
116 days without indictment, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, unlawful for a person to commit offenses with intent to earn, obtain, maintain increased status within a gang, unlawful for a person employed by associated criminal street gangs to conduct or participate in criminal street gang activities. Somebody else set 10,000 apiece on that, but there's no bond on possession of firearm by a convicted felon. Pre-trial.
I'm sorry, Judge. Who is this?
Frederick Woodruff, position 12.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Woodruff.
Yes,
12
ma'am.
prior arrests, PTI on a robbery and aggravated assault, simple battery in 2017, FTA in 2019, to arrest for probation violation. Open case 22 CP 209964, theft by receiving firearm by and street gang activity. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Pinto.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Woodruff has been incarcerated 106 days. He is no bonded on one of his charges, thus he is eligible for a bond. I would ask the court to leave the bonds that exist as they are. Regarding his Ayala factors, he's 24 years old. He's resided in Georgia his entire life. He does have a good address on Desert Drive. That is where he'll receive his court notices and where he lives with his mother. He does have one child, who at the time of his arrest was 9 months old, is probably just hit its first birthday, Judge. He did graduate high school in 2017. And he was working as a package handler at a warehouse. He'd been there for over a year. So he has very strong ties to the community. We are asking for a reasonable bond for him. Of course, as stated, he is entitled to a bond on that possession of firearm by convicted felon. I would ask for that to be 10,000 and the other charges remain the same.
All right. There you go. There's Mr. Bridges. Go ahead, Mr. Bridges. What say you about Frederick Woodruff?
Your Honor, the interesting thing is this is initially he was arrested on the gun charge. The court gave him no bond on the initial appearance, and they said significant likelihood to reoffend, risk of failing to appear, in danger to community. I think that's based on his criminal record. Then we came along and one of your colleagues gave him $10,000 bond on each of the gang charges, and once again, no bond on the gun charge. Once again, citing that he has significant likelihood to reoffend, risk of failure to appear, in danger to community. Your Honor, based on that, I'd actually ask that the gang charges bond be raised to at least $100,000 on each, and then $50,000 on the gun charge.
All right. And one of the so it's Goodfellas, though, right?
Goodfellas, Your Honor, and he was actually in the Goodfellas stronghold area when he actually had the gun in his possession, and his conviction was just from 2018. I think he was still on probation for that. That was out of Cobb County.
And what area of the town is the Goodfellas stronghold?
Jones, I think it's Jonesboro Road, Your Honor. Joseph E. Boone Road, Your Honor. The Pacific address was 1575 Joseph E. Boone address.
What do they call that area of town? Is what I was trying to think of.
That I don't know, Your Honor.
Yeah, it's not some. Okay, can't think of it. All right, no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 1575 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard Northwest. You gotta have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, and medical. No further contact with anyone that's a member, pledging to be a member, trying to be a member, thinking about being a member, affiliated with Goodfellas or any other gangs, not just Goodfellas in particular. Let's see. And if your address changes, you have to keep your address up to date. $50,000 count one, 100,000 count two, 100,000 count three. Best of luck to you, sir.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you mention social media and.
Yes, sorry, yep, sorry about I said no replicas of weapons, but no social media. I did say no replicas of weapons, but I didn't say no social media.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Best of luck to you, sir.
Judge, we got 50, 100, 100.
50,000, 100,000, 100,000. That's it.
Okay, great.
Thank you. All right. Javon Anderson, Mr. Anderson. There we go. All right, Miss Pinto, we got 22 CP 211056. 246 days without indictment. There is a $1 million good bond on aggravated assault, aggravated assault, aggravated assault, aggravated assault, aggravated assault. And then instead of me trying to say it all these times, unlawful for a person to be employed by, associated with criminal street gang to conduct or participate in criminal street gang activity. Times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 counts of that. Pre-trial.
What I apologize. Okay.
This is Javon
Number
Anderson,
3.
position
Okay.
3.
On the
So
main
Broderick
calendar.
Bridges has this one. Okay.
Right.
Yes, Ms. Jenkins, I'm handling this.
Thank you.
3 prior arrests, did not appear to have any felonies. Open case 20 misdemeanor 22 CR 005120Y. Didn't write down the charge. Nothing further.
Go ahead, Ms. Pinto.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Anderson, as stated, has been incarcerated 246 days. While he has a bond, it's functionally no bond at $1 million. He is indigent, Judge. He cannot afford that bond. He's been deemed eligible for a bond, so we're simply asking for a reduction to a bond that is reflective of his financial circumstances as required by Georgia law. We do have a good address for him on Riverdale Road. He is at the time of his arrest, he was working on getting his GED. He does have 3 children, ages 6, 3, and then he had one on the way at the time of his arrest. I'm not sure if the child's been born yet or not, Judge. As stated, we are asking for a reduction. According to pretrial, he's only been arrested 3 times in his life. He has no felony convictions. He's not likely to commit any felonies if released on bond. He's never convicted or committed a felony, Judge. He's never been found guilty of anything. He does have one open case. That's a misdemeanor case. I understand the allegations, of course, are serious, but the purpose of bond is to prevent punishment before a conviction. And we would ask that the bond be reduced to something reasonable, I would say 10,000. Judge, I'm trying to find the list. 10,000 each count.
All right. What says the state?
Your Honor, if you recall this case, you're the actual one who set the $1 million bond, and you do recall that there were 6 innocent people that were shot by the defendant. The defendant has not improved his behavior since he's been incarcerated. We have 4 incidents report from the jail on him. In addition, they have him at a high risk due to his disruptive behavior. Your Honor, I would ask that the bond remain the same. I think the judge, Your Honor, made the right decision based on his danger to the community and propensity to commit more crimes.
All right, let's see. I think the only thing I may have left off on here is no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons.
Judge, I'm sorry, can I just respond? I mean, some of these reports they're not due to any kind of violence in the jail. They're due to concern for Mr. Anderson and putting him on suicide watch. So in no way should that be held against him.
Going to respond, Mr. Bridges?
Your Honor, the specific that the officer uses is a disruptive behavior, whether that's a mental, they don't say mental, they say disruptive behavior.
All right. Yeah, no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. No further contact with Dekarrion, Dekarrion, Carmichael, Carmicheal, Avery Davis, C, initial CE, last name McLean, McClean, Spiritual Mayo, Mayo, Denizia, Danniezia Clark. I remember last time his address on Riverdale Road's in Clayton County, right, sir? All right. So stay out of Fulton County except for court and attorney visits. Stay away from 6545 Woodford Road in Atlanta, Georgia. No social media, no contact with any alleged co-defendants, no contact with any gang members, affiliates, or somebody who wants to be a gang member, pledging of rolling, ROLLING, Crips, or any other gang. No alcohol, drugs without a prescription, and no weapons. 24-hour house arrest. And this one did before, so he was working on his GED. Some court, legal appointments, and medical. Must attend school virtually and comply with the rules and regulations. Let's see. What's the stronghold of the rolling Crips?
That I don't know offhand, Your Honor.
And I think before I didn't name the co-defendants because I didn't have the names of co-defendants.
And we still don't, we're still investigating, Your Honor. We haven't, we're
Okay.
still working on that.
All right. So, been 246 days without indictment. How close is this to coming to being indicted?
You know, we still have work to do on this. Like I said, we have six individuals. We have one young lady was shot in the back. So we're still waiting on them to recover, so we can actually get our full investigation complete, our investigation completed, Your Honor.
All right. Unless I added anything to those bond conditions, I'm gonna deny the motion to modify bond. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Y'all have a good night.
All right, Ms. Pinto, I'll put that in the email. Terrence Wells.
Judge, I'm sorry, I just want to confirm, was it, he must attend virtual school?
Well,
or
yeah,
if
because he
attends
said
school,
before it
has
said he
to-
wanted to attend school, but it was going to be virtual.
Okay, so it's not that he has to attend school. If he attends school, it
No,
has to
if he
be
got
virtual.
right, if he attends, it has to be virtual, right? So put that, Miss, because they go, you just called it, Miss Rowe. If he attends school, it has to be virtual.
Yes, I have that. So, in the bond order, you're not modifying the bond amount.
Man, right, but just put
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Just the conditions.
right.
Got you. Okay.
All right, position 8, Terrence Wells. All right, 22 CP 214522. Let's see, as of 12/8, there is a $7,500 good bond on aggravated assault. Been in 100. I didn't set that bond either. Been in 14 days without indictment for ag assault. Pre-trial.
With regards to Mr. Wells, 6 felonies. 03 simple battery, prior burglary, prior terroristic threats, nothing further.
All right. Go
Your
ahead.
Honor.
Go ahead, Ms. Kennebrew.
Your Honor, Mr. Wells is 52 years of age. He does have a valid address with his aunt that he can live in Clayton County. He is from Georgia, and so he does have family here. I'm sorry. And he's been living here, so he's not at risk of fleeing. And his ties to the community are with his family here in Georgia. We're asking for the bond to be set at $5,000. If you're not inclined, we're asking that the bond remains the same.
So, what says the state? If we had contact with the victim, the warrant says hit her with a bat. Allegedly.
Your Honor, we have not, up to this point, Judge, to my knowledge. We apologize for that. As if it says bond 7,500 at this point in time, Judge, without there being any significant changes other than the fact that he's been in jail for 114 days, we request that you deny defense counsel's motion as stated, Judge.
All right. I'll add some conditions here. I was looking to see if maybe the alleged victim was on, but I don't see her. Okay. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Kizzie, Kizzie Avery. Stay away from 564 Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard. Stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. You're going to have an ankle monitor with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as he provides proof of employer, name of your employer, exact location you'll be working, and a schedule. You always have to do that each time you get a schedule, sir. Don't try to get a job, then quit and say you're going to work. Like I said, they do provide copies of the printouts from the ankle monitors and where you go to the state. And also, when I say no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, that includes bats. Okay. Allegedly hit her with a bat. See, add stuff there. So I'll reduce it to a $6,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. What about Benjamin Lewis? Mr. Lewis, all right. We got position 522 CP 209469. Benjamin Lewis, 305 days without indictment. Aggravated battery as of 9/1. There's a $10,000 good bond. 305 days without indictment. Pre-trial.
Add on number 5. 7 prior arrests, 1 probation violations, 2 misdemeanors. On probation for 21 theft by taking felony and misdemeanor theft by taking 21. 52 days confinement, 5 years probation, 1 FTA 2020. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Joe.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Lewis has instructed me to request a court consider a UJR to the hold. Hold is confirmed on the jail side of Odyssey. Foreign County hold, Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office, 305 days in custody at this point, Judge. Just for the court's knowledge, this warrant, excuse me, this case before Your Honor, while the warrant is an East Point warrant, the warrant was signed on May 28th, 2022, and it says that it says specifically a broken nose. The police report, I'll say it like this, the warrant doesn't have a timestamp on when it's signed. It looks like the police report was also generated on 5, excuse me, I saw the date earlier, 5/28/2022, so several days after the warrant was signed. And as I said, while the warrant does indicate a broken nose, the police report, which is later in time, no, excuse me, they're both signed on the same date. The police report has a timestamp on it, the warrant does not. But in the actual police report, Your Honor, it says a possible broken nose. So we do want to emphasize that there is a difference there. So possible broken nose according to the police report. The other main thing I would say is, I'm just going to read a quick line. I appreciate everyone's indulgence. I spoke with Jarvis Johnson, whom advised his girlfriend's boyfriend jumped on him. So, Judge, there does appear to be some aspect of infidelity in this case. Notwithstanding the injuries, and we acknowledge the state certainly has a responsibility to Mr. Jarvis Johnson, Judge, that is the context of this situation. For Mr. Lewis, Your Honor, he does have a good address, 8365 Hollowbrook Drive in Riverdale. He lives with his aunt. He was previously working at Spondivits as a dishwasher and Oz Pizza. Excuse me, Spondivits, he was a busser, a dishwasher at Oz Pizza. He has ties to the community, as I stated, with the address, living with his aunt, and his daughter also lives in Georgia. We are asking the court to consider defense's request. If the court's not so inclined, Judge, at this point, we'd ask the court to add Mr. Lewis to the list of priority cases. And I know Deputy Jenkins
Gets my emails after I send them, right?
Yeah, we absolutely do, Judge.
right. So
Let me
I
see.
appreciate that, y'all.
All right, so Booth, 1 North Booth 4, are you Watkins Bazille? Okay, sir, so earlier we called, your case has been indicted. I'm sorry, I know you've fallen asleep or not feeling well, so you can go ahead and leave the booth. Your case has been indicted, and your lawyer will get in touch with you, okay? So we can't address bond. Okay, thank you, sir. Kept thinking, we went way past 1 North. All right, go ahead, Mr. Jenkins.
Yes, Judge. Briefly, the defendant does have a $10,000 bond, and so with such and the hold that exists, we would request you to deny defense counsel's motion for a UJR in this matter. And yes, this case would be appropriate for your list to the Madam DA, and we'll make sure, and I'll note it to E.D. Hutcherson as well.
Okay.
Very grateful, y'all.
She forwards those to you, Mr. Jenkins, I guess?
To E.D. Hutcherson, and I'm also an E.D., but from a different division, but I'm covering for my deputy, Tom White, and so, but I get them as well. I do.
See, and they're very kind. They're very kind. Go ahead, Mr. Cho. Do you want to say something else?
Very grateful for y'all's attention to it. Thank you.
Let's see. So what he's asking for is, and I don't know. So sometimes I'll do it, and this is what he's proposed. And what he wants is me to reduce the amount or a UJR to the whole if they come get him.
Yes, that's correct.
So, Mr. Jenkins, you're still against that? Sorry, I know y'all hear probably.
I apologize, Judge. Yes, Judge.
All right.
I don't want to depend on Gwinnett. This is no, shade on Gwinnett in any way, but that's just our position, Judge, and we certainly understand whatever position you have.
So has there been any contact with the victim?
We
Jarvis
have
Johnson?
not, unfortunately. Yes, this is a dispute of two males and one female. That is correct, Your Honor, but we have not had contact with this young man.
At least it didn't go as
got
bad as
punched.
at least it didn't go as bad as the one I had today for that. All right, so no further contact with Jarvis Johnson. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You have an income honor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, medical, attorney visits, and employment, as long as you supply the place of your employment, name of your employer, the exact location you'll be working. Spawn Divits is in Fulton County. Are you going to get your job back in Fulton there, sir? You think? You're gonna do your best. Okay, so you stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court, lawyer, or employment, but you got to show where you're working. All right, you can't just come back and say you're working there. You got to show proof of employment and an ongoing schedule. All right, and stay away from the Motel 6 at 1377 Virginia Avenue in East Point and all Motel 6 locations. This has been 305 days. I'll go ahead and reduce it to a $7,000 good bond. Best of
Thank
luck to
you.
you, sir. All right, Derek Morris.
Excuse me, Judge, I know we've moved past Terrence Wells, but I had a question mark on my calendar. Was it no contact with Susan Avery or no violent contact? Because that bond
Nope.
warrant had no violent contact.
Oh, well, that was somebody else. I don't know. And
Okay,
yeah, is Miss Kennebrew still on here? Miss. Yeah, I just said no contact. She didn't say anything, but was that the first appearance where it said no further violent contact?
I can't remember which one it was. 'Cause
Yeah,
wrote
see it.
down
I
on my
see.
calendar.
It looks like it, but I don't see where it said like spoke to the victim. So I'll leave it at Mr. Cazelli, pass it on to Miss Kennebrew. If she's spoken with the victim or they speak with the victim, because there's no notes on here and usually it says that. So yeah, just leave it no further contact.
Okay, Judge, thank you.
All right. So position 4, Derek Morris, 22 CP 211759, 219 days without indictment, $9,000 good bond on aggravated assault. Free trial.
Multi-state offender, 16 Pennsylvania, 2 in New Jersey, 3 in DC, 4 in Virginia, 1 in Florida, Pennsylvania, old a criminal attempted robbery and theft by receiving in New Jersey, 2016, unlawful possess a weapon. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Gazzoli.
Thank you, Your Honor. Today is actually Mr. Morris's birthday. He turned 51 today. Your Honor, he had been living in Georgia since last January, and has a good address at 866 Warner Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30310. He did achieve his GED. Your Honor, he was arrested and had his first appearance on August 25th, where he was given a $10,000 bond. We are now, I believe, almost 7 months, into his stay at Fulton County Jail, Your Honor, and his bond has been reduced by only $1,000 since his arrest to $9,000. So today, Your Honor, he had his preliminary hearing almost 5 months ago. It was December 2nd, and there has been no indictment. There's been no movement from the state at all. So we're asking for his bond to be reduced from $9,000 to $5,000, Your Honor. It is long past time. It's been, since December, since there's been anything happening with this case. We would like his bond to be reduced to $5,000.
So now where he's gonna, sorry, that's Truman, if y'all hear that in the background service. So now he's gonna live in Fulton County, because before it was stay out of Fulton County. So his address is in Fulton?
Your Honor, that is the address that he currently has. We cannot guarantee that that'll be exactly where he'll be returning immediately, but we will make sure that an updated address will be filed with the clerk, Your Honor. And if you would like to make it some kind of conditional stay out of Fulton County, that would work for us. We just don't want him to be prevented from returning to any place he is able to stay.
Right. I don't either. Sir, are you gonna be, the address that Mr. Cazzoli called out, are you gonna be able to live there? No? So you live outside of Fulton County? Yeah, homeless? Yeah, he said homeless, Mr. Cazzoli. So, all right,
Yes,
what
my
says the
apologies,
state?
Your Honor. This address was for mail only. So
Okay.
again, we would just request that he not be exiled from Fulton County because we just don't know his situation once an address is found for him.
They try to get him into some services or something. I'm assuming
Exactly, Your Honor.
housing maybe what they, all right. Go ahead, Mr. Jenkins.
Yes, thank you, Judge. Very briefly, the state will recommend a 6,500 good bond, straight bond for this defendant, reduction to in this matter. Same terms and conditions, Judge. Anything you think is appropriate as well.
All right. So I got $6,500 good bond. No further contact with Jose San Miguel, Miguel. Stay away from 515 Lee Street. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. I'll take out because before I had to stay away out of Fulton County, but with homeless, he may try to get you housing through one of the programs.
I have no problem with that.
I had an ankle monitor. What's your position on the ankle monitor?
Anything that, Judge, I'm neutral on that as long as it doesn't get in the way of him trying to get some housing. If that's, something that's amenable, that's all.
Right. Well,
Your Honor, if the state is neutral on a in a what could be a possibly burdensome condition,
I don't want him living on the streets. If he could find him some housing, so we'll take that off because I know some places are extremely strict.
Right.
Okay, so we'll remove that and a $6,500 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir.
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
This is in regards to Mr. Wells. I apologize, my internet was being shaky. Mr. Wells and the alleged victim do have a child together, so we would be requesting no further violent contact.
So was she at first appearance?
That I do not know. I was past this case because Samson left.
Right. How about on Wells, we make it sometimes it's contact about the child only through a third party. Or because I want to know that what the victim thinks. I don't want to put somebody in back having contact if, even though the presumption is, it's an aggravated assault. This is when we allegedly hit her with a bat. When I say contact, they can have phone contact about the child and exchange of the child through a third party. If there's an extreme emergency, heaven forbid the child gets sick, I understand that he would have to go to a hospital or something like that. Then obviously there could be contact about, they could be around it. If they were like Children's Health Care of Atlanta. I mean, does that make sense? Can you do something like that, Ms. Rowe? Like extreme emergency for the kid in the hospital, then they can have contact.
Okay, so no contact with Kizzy Avery, only through third party regarding child.
Contact.
Contact.
I'm
Right.
sorry.
No phone contact about the child.
Okay.
If there's
Only
an
phone
emergency with the child, they can have no further violent contact, like at a hospital. But aside from that, no further contact. Third party can arrange any sort of time he has with the child. Thank you for coming back, Ms. Kennebrew. All right, Curtis Douglas. All right, this is position 3, Curtis Douglas 22 CP 211746. There's a $35,000, what is it now? $750 good bond. As of December the 15th, 218 days without indictment, ag assault, possession of firearm by convicted felon, false report of a crime, marijuana less than an ounce. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mr. Douglas, extensive arrest history, 59 prior arrests, 1 arrest for probation violation, FTA, numerous felonies for thefts, manufacturing, sale, cocaine, and entering. The last one was in 2013. 2 misdemeanors, open misdemeanor, 19 CR 00209-2Y. Driving with a suspended license, simple assault, family violence. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Gazzoli.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is another one where we had another defendant, Your Honor, where they were arrested, took 3.5 months for them to get their first bond, and then another 3.5 months since their preliminary hearing to now be in front of you today. Your Honor, we're asking for a reduction of his bond, which is currently set at $35,750. Your Honor, he is 52 years old. He has also had a birthday since his incarceration. He does still have a good address at 2367 Cascade Road, Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30311 with his wife. And he's been living there. He'd been living there for about a year before his incarceration. He's a lifelong Georgia resident. He has 2 kids that live in Atlanta as well. And he has 5 total children, a 10-year-old and 4 adults. Your Honor, he is also experiencing some very serious physical health issues, Your Honor, that have only worsened since he's been in the jail. Your Honor, it relates to a cracked spine in which he requires surgery and other orthopedic issues. And he has just not been able to get the care that he needs in there. And with no indictment on the horizon, Your Honor, we would just like him to have a shot at being able to get out of jail. We're asking for his bond to be reduced from $35,750 to $10,000.
All right, Chris has a stake.
Thank you, Judge. State requests you deny defense counsel's motion in this matter. You can, I see 183. What is the actual amount of days that he is?
218.
218, that's reasonable. You can add that to the list, Your Honor. And same conditions. He clearly, with his criminal history, is a repeat offender in this matter. And so, and any additional terms and conditions you think are appropriate, Judge, you have good judgment. So that's our position, Judge. Thank you.
Is there been, if there's been any contact noted?
Not in my files and not in Odyssey. I know this is a shooting at in the direction of, I do believe, but no contact, unfortunately.
All right. So we'll do 20,000, 8,000, 250, and $100. 20,000, 8,000, $250, $100. No further contact with Lametrius, Lametrius, Almond, ALMOND. Stay away from 1670 Lakewood Drive. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Ankle monitor provided by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, a schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. Best of luck to you, sir.
What about an address, Judge? Does he need to provide an address?
Oh yeah, does he not have, do you have an address for him, Mr. Cazzoli?
Yes, Your Honor, I included that in my argument. That address is 2367 Cascade Road, Southwest.
All right. I did write that down. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. As long as he's going to live there, that's fine. Best of luck to you, sir.
And Your Honor, I believe that completes my calendar. May I be excused?
Absolutely. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Did we get Cedric Williamson in yet? All right. Thank you, sir. It's number 2. I think this one's on the add-on maybe, but it's 22 CP 214723, 105 days without indictment, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, terroristic threats and act, reckless conduct, public drunk. No bond as of December the 16th. Pre-trial.
Defendant, I'm sorry.
Williamson, Cedric Williamson.
Yeah, okay. North Carolina 7 and 92 attempted robbery, 2016 firearm by a convicted felon.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Pinto.
Thank you, Judge. Was that 7 total cycles? I couldn't hear.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Williamson has been incarcerated 105 days with no bond, so he is of course entitled to a bond. If released, he would reside on McDaniel Street. He's lived in Georgia since June of 2022. He is from North Carolina originally. But he moved here with his wife and his son. His son is 13 years old, so he does have family and ties to Atlanta. He was working at the time of his arrest as a forklift operator at Intex. He'd been there for 6 months. And he also has his GED, Judge. So those are further ties to the community. We are asking for a reasonable bond for Mr. Williamson today. Trying to see if
I'm trying to read my own scribble. I think I don't know if it says McDonough or McDaniels Street. I'm trying to see.
it's McDaniel Street, Judge.
Okay, I scribbled it really quickly. All right, that's where
I
you.
was just trying to see if the terroristic threats is charged as a misdemeanor or a felony. Okay, it is charged as felony. We would ask for a 10,000 total bond, Judge.
Are you still going to live on the McDaniel Street address, sir? No. Do you have another address that you know? Can you take him off mute, Ms. Robinson?
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
Actually, I think that's the one in booth 5 that if he can go to 1 North booth 1.
Yeah, can you go down there?
That's the one that they have the problem with the being
the microphone.
if he can go to booth 1 North booth 1, and I'll unmute him.
All right. What, did he go the wrong way? Oh no, it went right. Okay. All right, yeah. All right, she'll try to unmute this one, sir.
Yes.
All right, what's the address, sir?
2841 Old South Drive, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30236. We was in the process of moving when I got incarcerated.
Yes, sir. What are those numbers for Old South Drive?
2841.
2841 Old South Drive, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30236.
2841.
2841. Thank you, sir. All right, what says the state?
Yes, Judge. State in this position will recommend 10,000 on the possession of a firearm by convicted felon, 10,000 on terroristic threats and acts, 1,000 on reckless conduct, and 1,000 on the public drunkenness.
All right. Let's see. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Chanel Franklin, Shanelle, last name Franklin, and no further contact with Shantae. I hope I'm not mispronouncing. Shantte or Shawnette Carmichael, Carmichael. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, location you'll be working, to the ankle monitoring company, and to Miss Bray as you get your schedule. You also stay out of Fulton County last year for court or to see your lawyer. Stay away from all MARTA property. Stay away from HE Homes, MARTA, and also stay away from all MARTA property. Planes, trains, automobiles, a little trolley thing that a lot of people ride, streetcar, that's also MARTA. Bus stops, you can't even sit down and tie your shoe at a bus stop. Sorry, you got to walk past that. But you're going to stay out of Fulton County, except for when you come to court. So still don't pass by a bus stop and take a seat or take a rest. All right.
Judge, can we do an exception for work to be in Fulton? Because I think his work was in
Fulton. All right. Employment, but like I said, if for employment, but you have to provide the exact location and when you'll be there, your schedule. Okay. So you can come for employment since you already have a job there. So we got, let's see, 8,000, 10,000, 1,000, and public drunk, $100.
Apologize. What's that? My math is terrible, Judge. What's that total?
Since I actually did that, it's 19,100.
19,000. Thank you, Judge.
100 on the public drunk. You got that, Miss Rowe? 8, 10, 1, and 100.
Yes, thank you, Judge.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. All right, we got Ronald Hughes. All right, Mr. Hughes. 22 CP 213637, 149 days without indictment. There is a $70,000 good bond as of November the 3rd. For possession of Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substance with intent to distribute, possession of Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substance with intent to distribute, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of Schedule 3, 1, or 5 controlled substance with intent to distribute, possession of firearm during the commission of a felony, possession of firearm by a convicted felon. 2 grams of crack, 2.5 grams of heroin, 6.5 grams of weed, and 54.6 grams of Xanax allegedly. Free trial.
41 arrests in Georgia, 6 felony convictions, all for drugs. He's on federal probation that ends 10/3/24 for armed career criminal. Nothing further.
That's what it's armed career criminal?
That's what it's called, armed career criminal.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead, Ms. Pinto.
That's actually going to be me, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Kennebrew. I thought she'd saddled one person, but okay, go ahead, Ms. Kennebrew.
Your Honor, Mr. Hughes is 52 years of age. He does have a valid address that he can be living at if released on bond. That is 3072 Lone Oak Avenue Southwest in Atlanta, Georgia, 30354, and that would be with Ms. Donna Myers. He is a lifelong resident of Georgia. Before he was arrested, he was a maintenance worker, and he did general housekeeping at some of the AUC colleges. He does have a daughter, and we are asking for a bond not to exceed $30,000.
All right. What says the state?
Judge, we request you deny defense counsel's motion for bond reduction. Bond is appropriate as it stands, Your Honor, with all of his criminal history and designation by the federal government. Looks like armed career criminal is those that always get caught with possession of firearms. And so that's my understanding of it.
All right.
And Your Honor, I
yes, ma'am.
want to make the court aware that he has been in custody for 149 days without indictment and also without a preliminary hearing.
Okay. Gotcha. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 735 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. Let's see. Address, let's see. Mass Properties and Commander with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment. As long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment is scheduled, the exact location you'll be working. That'll be paid for by the county. So sorry, looking at the other one. So I added, so we'll do, let's see, 9,000. I want to say 9, I mean 9,000, 9,000, 9,000, 9,000, 9,000, 10,000, and 10,000. 9,000, 9,000, 9,000, 9,000, 10,000, 10,000. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor, and that concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. All right, we got Ricky Smith. All right, Mr. Smith. This is 22 CP 212374, 197 days without indictment, aggravated assault, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, possession of firearm or a knife during the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies. There is a $20,250 good bond as of December the 7th. Free trial.
Ricky Smith, extensive criminal history, multi-state offender, Kentucky and North Carolina, and an FBI hold, 12 in Georgia. He has at least 6 felony convictions, 1 arrest for probation violation. Prior criminal history includes armed robberies, aggravated stalkings, felony escape. He's on probation out of Newton. Aggravated assault, firearm during firearm by, sentence in 07, 30-year sentence.
Go ahead, Ms. Pinto.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Smith, of course, has been deemed eligible for bond, and we're simply asking for a reduction to meet his financial circumstances. He's 49 years old. His mailing address is 89 Ellis Street. And that's where he receives his mail, Judge, but if released, he does plan to go stay at the Atlanta Christian Union. It's a program. They will help him get employment, and then they also have apartments that he can rent once he has that employment. He has spoken with them, and they said that they do have openings. So really it's just a matter of being able to get him out and get him into that program. He was working at the time of his arrest, Judge. He was at Crush Restaurant. It's in East Point. He was there for about a year, and he can return to that job. And he is originally from Georgia. He spent some time in North Carolina, but then moved back when his wife unfortunately passed. So we are asking for a reduction of $5,000, Judge, so that we can ask the bail project to post his bond and get him into that program.
All right. What says the state?
Your Honor, thank you, Judge. State requests that you deny defense counsel's motion. His bond as such, $20,250, I believe, straight is appropriate given his criminal history and likelihood to commit additional felonies in this case. So yeah, we request you deny defense counsel's motion. Thank you, Judge.
All right, let's see. I'm going to add some stuff here. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Mario Langford. So he's not going to be living in Covington where he was he? Is he? Was he? Right.
Covington? I don't.
That was an address that was on his booking sheet.
No, Judge, I need to file a change of address.
Okay. All right. You good. Thank you, Sarah. So that ankle monitor with the 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment. As long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, the exact location you'll be working in a schedule. You have to do that as you get your schedule, sir. And stay away from 50 Upper Alabama Street. And like I said, she's going to supply an address where you're going to be living. So let's see. $9,000, $4,000, $100, and $4,000. Well, I'll tell you what, let's make it $8,000, $4,000, $100, and $4,000. $8,000, $4,000, $100, and $4,000. Best of luck to you, sir.
Judge.
Yo.
Since his attorney has to file an address, do you want me to take off the stay out of Fulton County?
So, right, yeah, you could take, yeah, I just marked through that because I asked.
Okay, and we got 84104.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, can we take off the ankle monitor? Just because he will be staying in a program.
Has it been contact with the victim?
I'm sorry, Judge?
I was just asking Mr. Jenkins, was it being contact?
I'm sorry. I just got my list. Hold on. I apologize, Your Honor.
Yeah, usually there's a victim advocate on here.
Yes. And she just sent this to me, this position. Let's see here.
19.
I could have sworn I just saw it.
This position 19, Ricky Smith.
Yeah. She say Mario, I believe. Hold on.
Yeah, Mario Langford.
Yes. It doesn't appear that she's had any contact. She did reach out and no one picked up. And so we're still in the same pattern with that, Judge. Looking at this through my phone here from the email.
I think according to the preliminary hearing, the alleged victim is transitory, Judge, so I'm not sure if they're ever going to have contact.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. You still looking, Mr. Jenkins?
Oh, Judge, I apologize. I thought you heard me. I'm looking at our list and we tried to reach out to Mr. Crawford and no luck at this point, Judge.
He's gotten accepted there.
So it's more of a you come and they accept you the day of. They want to
Right.
make sure that you pass the drug test. So we're confident he will be able to go there, but it's not a residential program. It's a shelter that provides program services, which is why I'm concerned about the ankle monitor. You know, a lot of them have very strict rules, and if he doesn't have somewhere to charge it that night, he'll be in violation.
So has he got an address where he'll be living then? Not yet?
So he plans on living at the address I gave. Well, I don't know if I gave that actually.
No,
It's,
he's holding up a piece of paper. Sir, I'm sorry, I can't read it, but it's in Atlanta.
It's it is in Atlanta. It's on Alvin Iverson.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, just make sure you file that change of address. All right.
Yes.
Well, we'll remove the ankle monitor. Best of luck to you. Laquel Gilbert, Mr. Gilbert. All right, we got position 6, 22 CP 211969. Laquel Gilbert, 210 days without indictment. There is, let's see, as of December the 7th, there is a $27,000 split bond with some going, who is this, Judge Mann? No. All right, a couple things going through UJR jail for 210 days, like I said, for theft by receiving stolen property ×2, possession of firearm during the commission of a felony, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, BGCSA Schedule 1 or 2, that's ×2. Driving expired license plate or decal, failure to obey stop signs or control devices, reckless driving, fleeing and attempting to elude. Preach! Rah!
In regards to Mr. Gilbert, 21 prior arrests, couple of felonies, open case 20 CP 195337, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, false imprisonment, took a first prior conviction for firearm by a convicted felon, theft by receiving, a battery, and cocaine with the intent to distribute. 5 arrests for probation violation, nothing further.
All right, and the fleeing and attempting to elude was a misdemeanor. Go ahead, Ms. Pinto.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Gilbert has been incarcerated 210 days. He does have a bond, however, it's obviously more than he can afford, so we are asking for a reduction to something reasonable for his financial circumstances. At the time of he's 31 years old. At the time of his arrest, he was working in a warehouse. So he does have ties to the community, Judge. Let's see. He's native to Atlanta. We have a good address for him on McDaniel Street. He does have a 10th grade education and one child who's 5 years old. He does have both his parents in Atlanta, so those are further ties to the community. Judge, we would ask for a reduction. It looks like the total right now is 20,000. We would ask for a reduction to 10 total.
Yeah, it looks like it's $27,000 split.
Oh, I'm sorry. My
That's okay.
math is not my strong suit.
That's okay. What says the state?
Yes, Judge. You said 27. I thought it was 20,000 myself. My bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's an amended bond order.
Oh, okay.
There's an amended bond order where they added the misdemeanor fleeing and attempting to elude.
Okay. Well, I'll consent to a 20. If it's 27,000, I'll consent to 20,000 split.
All right, let's see. Now you're making me do some math.
I certainly am not good at that, Judge. That's for sure.
Let's see. All right, let's see. All right, how about I do this? No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Now, she must reside, she had put before, must reside at 1082 McDaniel Street. You're gonna be able to live there, sir? Okay, I just want to make sure. And let's see. She's got, what else was on here? Ankle monitor with a 24-hour curfew, court lawyer, Employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. And also for medical appointments. You just need to let the ankle monitoring company know and Miss Bray know. Let's see. No drugs or alcohol weapons. No driving unless you have valid license plates, and registration. No further contact with Javon, Javon Presley, Pressley, and no further contact with Eric, last name Revell. Yeah, let's see. This may be just easier for me. 4,000, 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. 500, 500. It's UJR jail. Leave that at UJR jail. 1,000, and then I got 750. So it's 4,000, 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. 500, 500, UJR jail, 1,000. 500 and 1,000, and then the last one is 750 on the misdemeanor fleeing and attempting to elude.
And Judge,
Yeah.
could we add an exception to the curfew for childcare? I know he has a small child. She might need to go to school or the doctor or something.
Okay, sure. And well, how do we usually word that? I think we were like just care for child's needs, school, medical appointments, things of that nature. Okay, sir. Okay. Best of luck to you, sir. I'll put that one in the email. Now I got, let's see, are you Mr. Sanchez? Mr. Sanchez? So Mr. Sanchez, your case was indicted. So you need to reach out to Mr. Cho, okay? Mr. Cho, right? Pending indictment, so it should be indicted. For Mr. Sanchez there. Does he need an interpreter? Is he just, do you need an interpreter, sir?
Yes.
No, how English? Oh, we don't have one.
Yeah, I thought since the case was
Yeah,
indicted.
since we removed it. Hey, where's? Yeah, it was indicted. I was gonna say we could have used. Anybody who speaks Spanish? Speaks Spanish. Sometimes it's indicted. Let's see. Yeah, we removed it. I didn't think they were gonna pull it. How's your Spanish, Mr. Cho?
Judge, I can see if Lieutenant Coughlin maybe can send someone on the floor in the booth and let him know that he can come out.
Okay, because I don't know how to. We didn't plan an interpreter because he was indicted.
Do you want me to try and call Miss Correa, Your
Correa?
Honor?
Yeah, that'd be good. Mr.
Give
Cho,
me
how's
1
your
second.
Spanish?
I have Google Translate, so let's try this. Iré a verte a la cárcel, el caso se restablecerá.
I have no idea what you just said, but it probably wasn't that. I got kicked out of Spanish because they said my accent destroyed the language. And, for me to never
I don't think my accent was very good. So
let's see. So
is that
yeah,
Mr. Jameson?
She's calling Miss Correa and see what Miss Correa can do.
May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a good night.
So, Mr. Jameson.
Miss Correa is going to hop on.
All right, Miss Correa is going to hop on. We'll handle this really quick. All right, this is position 16. Okay, let's see. Mr. Sanchez, 1 minute or memento. All right, you got 22 CP 213801 Benjamin Jameson, 144 days without indictment, criminal damage to property, aggravated assault, $30,000 good bond as of November the 8th. Free trial.
Amos.
Arrest in New York. Last arrest was in 05, has a prior robbery, nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Cho.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, long and short, this is at a gas station. The allegation is that the plastic booth, I guess, that cashiers can be behind in certain establishments was filled with allegedly fire extinguisher propellant. I don't know what the exact term of art is for that, but the stuff you would extinguish a fire for. So there was damage to the property, which is a second degree, and aggravated assault is not an actual, this is my interpretation, not an actual contact between my client and any kind of weapon with any individual, but that the plastic booth barrier was filled up with the extinguisher gas, basically. We did have a probable cause hearing for Mr. Jameson on the 3rd, but bond was unchanged from that date, and so bond has been $30,000 good since November 8th. And so it is a bit of time at this point. Judge, we are asking the court to consider a reduction in this case. Mr. Jameson was feeling ill that day, and he was not on the medication he needed, and so there was a panic attack that occurred. No one actually was harmed in the sense of physically. I do think there may have been coughing and exposure to the extinguisher gas, as I stated. My client does have family that who do care about him. I've spoken with Miss Doris Dees previously. His intention is to not be in Atlanta if possible. He's been hospitalized 3 times since October, Your Honor. And he is on a good medicine at the jail currently. So until we can do anything further on this case, Judge, we are asking for a reduction of bond at this time, nothing further.
Do you have an address where he'll be living?
It's in North Carolina, Your Honor.
Okay.
Let me double check. Excuse me. Greenville, South Carolina. I apologize. I misspoke.
Okay. All right. What says the state?
The state, in this case, Judge, would recommend a bond of, let's see, it's 30,000. So $17,000 straight, Judge.
All right. So we got no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no, well, it didn't have the lady's name in there. It just says employees of that Chevron. Stay away from all Chevron gas stations, especially the one at 180 Ponce de Leon Avenue. What's your position on an ankle monitor?
Are you asking me, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. I didn't hear any failure to appears.
Right. I'll leave it in your discretion, Judge. I don't have a
Right,
feeling
sure.
on it one way or the other, really.
We'll get
It's kind of weird facts here, so.
Yeah, I want him to stay, get his treatment and stay healthy.
Right.
We'll do the just no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, and continue to take any medication you're prescribed, 7,000, and then let's see, 7,000, 14,000 good bond. Best of luck to you.
Thank you,
sir.
Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you,
All right.
Deputy.
Ms. Correa.
Thank you.
Ms.
Yes,
Correa,
Judge.
do you mind telling Mr. Sanchez that his case has been indicted? Because I think I don't even know what Mr. Cho said when he was trying to speak in Spanish. He probably just
Sure.
created some international conflict. I have no idea.
Ok, señor Sánchez, ¿estás ahí? Ok, ¿y me puedes escuchar? Ok, parece que lo que pasó es que la oficina de la fiscalía entregó los cargos formales contra usted. Entonces, eso significa que esta juez no tiene la autoridad para escuchar tu demanda para fianza. Entonces, lo que va a pasar es que otro abogado de nuestra oficina te va a hablar contigo para las próximas etapas de tu caso. Entonces, significa que tu caso se está siguiendo pero y tiene que ir frente a un juez con más poderes que el juez Manning. Ok, si tienes algunas preguntas, tú puedes hablar con el señor Cho y el señor Cho me puede llamar y nosotros podemos hacer una conversación con traducciones. All right. Seems like he understood. I just told him it was indicted. He has to go in front of a judge with more powers, and that if he has any questions, he may speak with either, he can call Mr. Cho, and Mr. Cho knows he's always welcome to call me, and I'm happy to three-way.
And of course, Mr. Cho, he apologized for whatever Mr. Cho attempted to say in Spanish.
Please.
I was just gonna say that is not what.
That
Mr.
is
Cho-
not anything
that-
close to what you tried to say.
That was not it.
I appreciate it, Ms. Beck and Ms. Correa, for your help today. It was very
Man,
kind.
thank you so much. Miss Correa has one of those little snuggies.
Yeah, this is one of those heavy duty hoodies that's got like fleece on the inside.
Nice. Thank you so much. I know
Anyway.
you're probably relaxing at home, Miss Correa. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, everyone.
All right. So Miss Beck, thank you. So we got
Judge, I'm
yes,
sorry.
ma'am.
When you take out the ankle monitor, are you taking out the 24-hour curfew as
Yeah,
well?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank
All right. So this is Gerald Rice. Miss Beck is waiving his presence.
Yes.
May I be
Adios.
excused, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you, everyone.
I got adios. That's it. All right. So this is Gerald Rice. I think maybe his mom or some family is here.
His mom is here, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Rice. All right, 22 CP 212323, 199 days without indictment, $60,000 good bond as of 12/13. There's 22. Let's see, armed robbery, aggravated assault, possession of firearm or knife for the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies. Pre-trial.
This is his only prior arrest.
Okay, and I hope you were able to let his mom know why he's not appearing.
I emailed her and I was gonna call her later, yes.
Okay, so Miss Rice, she'll call you later. Go ahead, Miss Beck.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Rice is 26 years old. He is a lifelong resident of Georgia. He has lots of family in the state, including 5 brothers, 3 sisters, his aunt, his mom, who is in regular contact with me and always making sure that he's going to make every, that he understands every upcoming court date. He does have
Okay, so
History.
what, he has what? I'm sorry, you froze for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry, learning disabilities.
Okay, gotcha.
In addition to his learning disability, he also has, he's blind in one eye, and it was made worse when he was jumped at the jail recently. So that's why he's in medical right now. Because he was jumped, he can't see out of one eye at all. He does need surgery and medical treatment for that. So to go back a little bit, he does have so much family in Georgia and a very supportive mom who will make sure that he gets wherever he needs to be. He is a high school graduate from MLK High School. He graduated in 2016. Prior to his arrest, he was working with his mom, doing like the contract work through Amazon. We are asking for a bond not to exceed $30,000, Your Honor. That is still such a high amount for his family to be able to afford. However, it has been 199 days without indictment. He really needs medical treatment outside of the jail. Long story short, I know that it's a lot to ask for given the allegations. However, he does not have any prior criminal history. He does not have any failure to appears. Like I said, his family is going to make sure he is wherever he needs to be.
Do you have an address where he'll be living?
Yes, Your Honor, I apologize. 3791 Travis Trace in Atlanta, Georgia, 300 Decatur. I'm so, thank you, ma'am. And I did file the change of address. So hopefully I put Decatur on that
Okay.
one. But it should be updated in the system.
Okay. All right, what says this, and ma'am, I know you're worried about your child and that happened at the jail, so I'll keep you in my thoughts, okay, and prayers. It's gotta hurt being a mom, no matter what, so I'm sorry about that. Go ahead, Mr. Jenkins.
Thank you, Judge. In this case, he's entitled to a bond. The allegations are disturbing, and that they still are allegations, but He robbed his employer at gunpoint. And so with that, Judge, our recommendation is to the armed robbery, 100,000, to the aggravated assault, 50,000, the possession of firearm to commission of felony, 15,000, for a total of $165,000 in this case. Obviously, no contact, ankle monitor, 24-hour curfew, stay away. I don't know where he is at, where he will be living. But
Indicator.
Then being banned from Fulton County, except for court appearances and potential medical issues, since the level 1 trauma center here is in Fulton. Any other terms and conditions the court deems appropriate in this matter. But yeah, so the allegations, he took advantage of a trust and stuck a gun in his employer's face. So.
Right.
Your Honor, if I may, those are still allegations. He's not safe in that jail. He already went in there with pre-existing conditions. They've only been made worse by the environment of the jail. I know it's not supposed to be cushy or anything at the jail. I totally get that. However, he has already been put in danger and now requires severe medical treatment for that. I understand the allegations, but they are just that. His medical conditions are not allegations. Those are very, very real.
Does his medical conditions allow him to work, Mom?
Yes, they do.
They do. Okay, they allow him to work. Okay. All right. All right. So no further contact. So I'll make some changes to this. No further contact with SAEED, last name FARAAKHSHAD. Stay away from all Little Caesars locations. And it's got must reside at 3791 Travis Trace in Decatur, Georgia. 303-30032. Okay, sorry, all that kind of read together. An ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical. How much is that gonna, what kind of, do you want to message me and tell me what kind of medical conditions it is?
Yes, I can, Your Honor. I'm going to double check with her just because it's all in my email, but I will.
Okay.
I can email that to you or I can message it to you now. I know that he is blind in one eye. He's completely blind.
But does he
Oh,
he's always blind in both? Okay.
Both eyes.
Okay. His treatment though, will ankle monitor interfere, I guess is what I'm
not sure because I'm thinking like any of those scans that you have to go in. I'm really not sure. I don't know.
So if you could find out, let me and Mr. Jenkins know so we can, if we have to remove it, we can. All right. Ankle monitor, 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and employment, meeting with lawyers. You can also, I would stay out of Fulton County this year for court, medical, because it probably goes to Grady, or at least it's a trauma center, and meeting with his lawyer. Any other treatments he may have to have for his conditions. So we'll put the ankle monitor on there, but if you find out something, just talk to Mr. Jenkins, because I don't want something that scans that cut it off, put it back on, cut it off. Man, he can't come to Fulton County unless he's here for one of those three things: court, lawyer, or medical treatment. Okay. But he can't make the 60,000.
All of his siblings are younger. So I did note how many siblings he has, but they're all younger. So he is the one that helps provide for the family with his mom. So she can definitely not afford $60,000. $30,000 is already going to be a stretch.
All right. So I'm putting this on, just include it in my email because I just sent it. I already included this in. So 15, 15, and 10.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. And reach out to Mr. Hudson or something. Maybe y'all can get a consent order.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mom. She's going to keep, Mrs. Beck will reach out to you and she'll email me and Mr. Jenkins about anything that may interfere with his bond. Okay. Thank you, Mom. All right. Anything else? I think
Your Honor.
Just that one other thing you had right on 2 minute. That was on. Oh yeah, which case was that?
It was Dustin Williams. He's not
Yeah,
on the
Dustin-
calendar today.
Right. So, Ms. Rowe, so on Dustin Williams, let's see, can you give us one of the case numbers for?
Oh, yes, Your Honor. Give me one
Ms.
moment
Rowe.
and I'll grab.
So Ms.
his-
Rowe, I think the jail was having some confusion in the bond. The way I said, I did one of those things where you release to the hold only.
Yeah.
And if they didn't come and get it, he could either post the bond or release it to the hold.
Right, so Dexter sent it to me, so I have to do it over.
Okay, so Mr. Jenkins, it was one of the cases that we had. I had done the whole because he had release it to the hold, or I give him a bond. He posts the bond, the hold still come gets it, or they come get him. So there was just some confusion at the jail. Maybe it was some of the wording. So I don't know how to.
I was gonna fix it when I was done, when we were done here.
Yeah, and they usually haven't had a problem with that. This is one of the first times we've had any issues with that. But so yeah, if you
Most
just
counties are desperately trying to come get him.
Right, because I had UJR to hold only, so I thought that would have sufficed.
It's usually what we put in there.
Triple circle or, because that is apparently the holdup. And I've gone back and forth. I emailed Your Honor the other day. I forwarded that to everyone and they're still saying it's not enough. I do have the case number if you still want that.
I can probably find your email if you want to email, or if you just want to forward those warrants to Miss Rose. Well, she said Dexter's already shown it to her. So yeah, I don't know what else they can say. UJR to the, or he can post the bond in the amount that I gave him. I don't know. Must be somebody new.
Should I just say 1.5K good bond? If not picked up on the hold?
That works.
Okay.
That works for me, but obviously
Yeah.
I'm not the one in charge of trying to get him out.
Lieutenant Conklin, what will it need to say? We've never had this problem so that they'll know that if the hold comes and picks him up, it's a UJR, boom. But if
Would have to reach out to the jail.
so, yeah, usually it's that, or maybe it makes it be a sentence, UJR to hold. If hold does not pick him up, or
I like that more because I think it's really the or.
If they do not pick him up, then or he can post the $1,500 good bond.
Okay, I'm getting ready to change it in just a minute.
Okay.
I'll put it in your queue, Judge.
Yeah, we'll get something like that. Anything else? I think that's it, right?
What was the case? Well, I'm sorry, what was the case number, please, for the record?
Yes, it is 21 CP 204140. And it's Dustin Williams.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That's it?
I believe so. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
That's it for us today. Okay, thank you, Judge. Everyone be safe.
Good night, everyone.
Take care.
Good night.